Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Let's get moving, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Things really got interesting this week. Steve Elman says he is going to run for another term as county executive. Well, that shakes things up quite a bit. Matter of fact, we talked to Steve on Wednesday's program, and we're going to have that for you in just a second. But here's what's coming up this week. Bill Eigel is going to be with us today. He's going to be with us at 8:35. He is staying in the race, as is Jason Law, and Jason Law is going to be on the show tomorrow at 7:05. So we're getting all three main candidates on the program this week. But let's start with a conversation that we just had with County Executive Steve Elman. You'd already said that you were planning to step aside and essentially retire after this. What changed your mind and made you to decide to run for another term after originally planning not to?
Well, first of all, thanks for the nice comments about St. Charles County. And, in politics, we do a lot of polling, but I think the most important poll for me is the one that the Census Bureau did 5 years ago, in which they've updated every year since, in which showed that the region was only growing 1.3%, but St. Charles County is growing 13%. So, having said that, when I decided I didn't want to run, things didn't look very good for making any changes at the state level, the federal level, or even down here at East West Gateway, where I am right now for a meeting at 10 o'clock. Given what the people who were in power and things that were going on, now everything has changed. I've got a different president in the White House. I've got a different group of people in Jefferson City that I think I can really work with and get things done. Governor Keogh is a former St. Louisan and knows our problems down here. And most importantly, I guess, again, down here at East West Gateway, I spent the last 3 years arguing with Mayor Jones and Megan Green and progressive Democrats, and it was very, very frustrating. Offered a lot of amendments, didn't get very many passed. Well, now I've got some new people to work with down here. So the answer to your question is it's just a different political landscape now than when I made a decision that I didn't think I wanted to run again after the last election. So things change. I think I've never been this optimistic about the ability to move not only St. Charles County, but the region and the state forward.
Now, respond to some of the, the pundits out there and some of the folks either online or other broadcasts who are saying, hey, you looked at that political landscape and with the way that the main candidates who had filed, was there a factor that I don't want to take the chance of this going in a different direction than the type of conservatism that's in charge right now? Because essentially what one of the things I heard was, well, the couple candidates could split a vote. Bill Eigel has a path to victory, but it's going to be a lot harder if you stay in the race. And obviously, Mike Elam is backing you and stepping out of that race as well. So was there some campaign landscaping as well to consider?
Well, I've had a lot of people encourage me to do it, and whether that was their thinking or whether they just thought I was the best person for the job. My thinking is that I still think I have a lot to offer. I want to give the people an opportunity to pass judgment on what I've done in the past. I pride myself on being a problem solver, and we still have problems, not just in St. Charles, but in the region and the state, and I still think I can contribute to solving them.
We're visiting with Steve Elman, the St. Charles County executive, who's just announced that he is going to run for re-election. When I was reading your statement yesterday, Steve, I thought it was interesting that you spent, a pretty good portion of that talking about what you did not do, in that you didn't shut down the county, you didn't issue mask mandates, and you did take a lot of heat for that at the time. But that was, I think, focusing on, I guess, the freedom aspect of that. Why was that important to bring up all this time later? Because you caught some hell for that back then.
I did, and I had a lot of reporters come out and look at me like, "What, do you know what you're doing here? Are you sure you're doing the right thing?" And it was tough. And as it all turned out, our numbers were better than anywhere else. Now, what bothers me the most about that is that it's been over now for, 2-3 years. And if it came back, I'm not sure there's some people wouldn't make the same mistakes that they made before. I mean, we weren't perfect on it. I've tried to learn, and I think if it came back, I might even take less action. But there's still a lot of people out there, and of course, half of this region is not in the city of St. Louis or St. Louis County. I think when you compare that half and the other half, the more conservative approach certainly was more successful. But that's one of those things. You got to go with your instincts. And my instincts were, the worst thing you can do is to make a law that you can't enforce. I mean, we've got immigration laws. We need to enforce them. If we're gonna have a mandate to wear a mask, how are you going to enforce that? And if you're not going to enforce it, don't just make a show and try to tell people what they should do.
Mm-hmm. Steve, you mentioned, there's still challenges, still things that need to be done. What's now on that agenda? I mean, obviously with St. Charles, one of the biggest issues isn't if it's going to develop and grow, it's how is it going to develop and grow. And you've had, everything from the city dealing with the data center, not really a county thing, but that type of business development is going to be on the table, in addition to the residential, with developers wanting to build, new communities in St. Charles County. So when you look at what needs to be done, whether it's tax rates or development or anything else, what is it that needs to be the priority the next, say, year or two in the county?
Well, we're working on our master plan. I'm actually working on a presentation, and I call it the best of both worlds. We have a great situation in St. Charles County. From my office, I can be down here, in downtown St. Louis in 25 minutes, or I can be out in the Mississippi Flyway, hunting in 10 or 15 minutes. I can be to our parks, in 20 minutes from St. Charles, and other people are closer. So we have, first of all, 43% of the county is floodplain, and it's never going to develop. We've got some areas of the county, and the most obvious is the Femisage watershed, where the Femisage Creek is. If you look up at a map, it's forested, it's hilly, it's rocky soil. That's never going to be developed. That's always going to be 5-acre lots if people live there at all. Those are the areas, and there's other smaller areas like that around the county that should remain pristine and in their natural state. But that doesn't mean there aren't other areas. I like to say that the farmers 150, 200 years ago kind of taught us a lesson. If it was not, if they couldn't farm it, we shouldn't be developing it. If it was too rocky, too hilly, or it had a beautiful forest there, and they decided to leave it, I think we should leave it as well. But there are other areas. If it could be farmed, it could. You could provide sewer and water to those areas, and like we have in St. Peter's and O'Fallon and Wentzville. I mean, those areas are going to grow, and the county really doesn't have any control over that. But the unincorporated areas, we do. And we need to make sure that, like I said, we not only provide the necessary housing, and of course, that's the reason all of our housing assessments have gone up, is because it's the shortage of housing. We need more housing, but we need it in the right place. We need housing for our kids and our grandkids. I feel sorry for these young people that looking for a starter home in St. Charles County. It's hard to find one for less than $350,000. And those are the kind of issues, and it's a balancing test. You can't be all growth and you can't be all no growth. You've got to try to find the right balance.
And a lot of talk about taxes right now. Are there any areas where taxes should be reduced, and what can the county do? I mean, be it property, be it business, anything else?
That's just it. The county controls its tax rate, and the county has we have a zero tax rate for our general fund on property tax. Okay. Only a total of 5.6% of all the county revenue comes from property taxes, and that goes to alarm and dispatch and to roads and bridges. So we've done it. We've been trying to eliminate all the property tax, and we're about 98% of the way there. We 2 years ago, when all the the personal property taxes went so high, we went ahead and froze those, and we have not gotten the windfall. We have gone ahead and raised the same amount of revenue this last 2 years as we did 3 years ago. So we're trying to deal with this. But, when you do away with an unpopular tax, you got to find a way to replace it. And we've been doing that in the county for the last 20 years, and we'll keep trying.
All right, guys, some thoughts on that? Let me know. 314-912-1019. Do you have any questions you want me to ask Bill Eigel? Send them to us on the social media platforms, or you can email me or just give us a call. 314-912-1019. Once again, Bill Eigel going to be on the show at 8:35. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime,
Love the News Talk STL app.
anywhere.
So I hear an out-of-towner asking someone, where's the best place to eat? Before they could respond, I said, Cafe Napoli. Where? Well, I said, Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, and then you got Napoli Kirkwood, plus you got Napoli Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. You'll find Napoli everywhere. It's not too early to book a party and buy gift cards. Cafe Napoli.
My name is Alana. I was 6 years old, and I got diagnosed with cancer. I come to St. Jude for treatment.
After her last treatment on December the 4th, I was just kind of having a conversation with her, letting her know, Alana, you did awesome. I mean, so proud of you. You fought, you accepted whatever was happening, you went with it. And her words to me were, Mommy, thank you so much for helping me get through this. She said, I could not have done this without you. This was very hard. And I couldn't even hold my tears because when I think about it, I would not have been able to get through this without St. Jude. And so once we became part of the St. Jude family, everything was okay. Thank you, St. Jude, for helping me get her through this because I wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
JC's Wayback Machine.
This week, I'll tell you why you shouldn't be upset about the ending of the new Netflix movie everybody's talking about, A House of Dynamite. The A-list interview is with Charlie Sheen's 2.5 Men co-star, John Cryer. And we'll supply you with a bunch of songs to set your clocks back by. It's all brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9, News Talk STL.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, there's an interesting turn of events here. It looks like Josh Hawley's SNAP funding plan that he proposed, we talked about yesterday, and I think we all looked around and went, well, that makes sense. I mean, if all the politicians are saying that all we have to do is appropriate the money, and Josh Hawley says, fine, here's one bill, standalone, just fund SNAP, then we can argue about the other stuff. Apparently that's DOA in the Senate.
Already?
Yeah, already.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. 546 right now. I want everybody to have a chance to kind of weigh in on this. This is interesting because, there's some things I think Josh Hawley's just wrong about. There's a lot of stuff I think he's right about. And I don't understand why this is running into problems with the leadership of the Republican Party. It's not really the rank and file in the Senate that seems to be the problem, because he had like 10 Republicans go, yeah, sure. And all the Democrats went, okay, because the Democrats don't want this on their shoulders.
So I would guess based off that means something on the Republican side shut it down.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. It is 546. So it looks like the Republican leadership in the Senate says no to the any standalone spending bill. Basically, John Thune, the leader of the Senate, has said, we're not going to piecemeal this. Either we basically do all or nothing. So we agree to a continuing resolution, or we agree to a budget, or we don't. We're not gonna take this bill here and this bill here. And the way that I understand Senator Hawley's proposal is that essentially it just took what was already budgeted under the previous plan and just says, we're just going to approve sending this out. Yeah. So KMOV talked to him. KMOV talked to Wesley Bell. They also grabbed a soundbite from Chuck Schumer, because it looks like if this would be put up for a vote by the Senate leadership, meaning the Republican leadership, it would probably fly through with plenty of room to spare. Here's what KMOV was reporting, and this is Cameron Bopp doing the report.
When it comes to SNAP, the only solution here is we need to appropriate the money.
Missouri's Republican U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has a bipartisan bill to keep SNAP funded, but will a majority of his fellow Republicans back it?
42 million people are about to go without food, including a lot of children. In my state, it's 650,000 people. I mean, that's extraordinary. It's 12% of the American population.
We're ready to work in whatever way to solve this issue. There's a bill right now from Senator Hawley. It's a bill I'd happily support and vote for.
Congressman Bell agrees, saying feeding America should be a bipartisan effort.
So this isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. We're fighting for Americans.
Okay, so once again, I in a free society, it's not the government's job to be your provider of food.
Yes.
I mean, that's a dependency, separate issue. This is what we have right now. Okay. And so this seems like, just in a political sense, just kind of common sense and an easy so-called low-hanging fruit. The Democrats have been leveraging the SNAP benefits and the hungry people. 660 some odd thousand in Missouri, turns out about 2 million in Illinois.
Jeez.
Yeah, that are dependent on these programs. Now, first of all, that just tells you too much government dependency again.
Oh yeah.
I don't want anybody to think I'm losing my libertarian cred here on this. But now you've got Republicans who have been saying, hey, Democrats, you're about to starve people. You won't, you're demanding over $1 trillion in extra spending. It's completely unreasonable. And you're going to hold poor people hostage for this. Well, now one of the Republicans says, you know what? Here's a solution. If it's really about the SNAP benefits, it's really about the food, then you know what, here, let's just do this so we can still argue over healthcare and all that kind of stuff. Democrats like, okay, because it lets them off the hook.
Yeah.
So politically, this is a win for Democrats. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's the Republican leadership that says, no, we're not going to vote on that. At least as of late last night. No, we're not going to do that. It's going to be all or nothing. So Hawley put the Republican leadership in a bad spot politically. Although they could have just said, well, yeah, of course, let's just do this one, throw it through almost as a side note. Everybody probably would have voted for it. That probably would have had almost unanimous. If not, I mean, you've had every Democrat, you've got 11 Republicans, more than enough to pass that. And then goes to the House. I suspect that would have probably gone through fairly quickly. They probably could have funded that by the end of the week here.
The counterpoint, though,
Yeah.
I can see a few reasons why they would not want, the Republican side would not want this to go through. And it's not to hurt people that are reliant on the government for their existence. But if let's say that's had gone through, does that not then set a tone for the Democrats who keep voting against opening the government, which if the government was open, this would have gone through anyways without needing a vote, to then say, well, what else? So, because to my knowledge, the Democrats are the ones that keep going on an open mic saying we are intentionally doing stuff that will cause you to suffer more, specifically because we want to make the Republicans look bad,
right?
Because we know you don't actually fact check what's going on here.
Yeah.
But so I can see that being we're not going to play this game sort of mentality, because then what's the next thing is going to say, well, what about for this one? Let's get another one, a single issue, and then we'll all vote yes on it. And that way the Democrats keep getting what they want without actually having to compromise or come to the table, because I think it's 14 votes now or 13 that the Democrats have said, no, we're not reopening the government.
13. Yeah.
Yeah.
13 of them. Yep.
So at that
it'll
point,
be 14 sometime this week.
So at that point, why should you be able to get hey, we fought to get you your SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
But we're also not going to open up the government and follow through on anything else.
Fair point. It is. And in this one here, there's no increase in the spending. So Hawley ends up looking really good on this. And I hate that we just keep talking about the political optics of it all, but we're doing that because it, again, failed to go through. So, I mean, I get the Republican leadership saying, no, you guys keep shutting down the government. We're not going to piecemeal it, because there was another proposal to just pay like essential employees. And so essentially both parties, or as Stell would call it, the uniparty, they're holding a whole bunch of people hostage. But again, they're able to hold that many people hostage because we have far too big of government and far too much dependency on government.
Oh yeah.
If this were done the way it's supposed to be done, just in a humanity perspective, then government wouldn't have this kind of leverage over people. And the Democratic side is just lying through their teeth about this. It's amazing to me. I'll see like Nick Schreier posted something on social media about, Democrats, the Schumer shutdown. And then you see of course, Nick gets all kinds of hate. I think he kind of feeds on it,
Yeah.
But he gets all that. And they're just, the hate that he's getting are people just saying ill-informed or malinformed or just flat out dishonest stuff. And now you've got some of the leftists who love to hate him basically arguing, I'm glad Democrats are holding strong. They're finally not rolling over. It's like, not rolling over for what?
Yeah.
This is exactly what the Democrats bargained and got in the Biden administration. I mean, this was the Republicans giving in and giving you all of this massive, much too big spending as it is. So what is it you're not giving in on?
Yeah, this should have probably been one of the few things within the administration currently and the government currently that should have just been oh, cool, thank you, and move on. This should not have been, from what I can tell, something that caused a government shutdown. Not
Right.
that I'm complaining, but
Right. Oh yeah. No, I believe me. I like my government shutdown.
Oh yeah.
But, I mean, obviously I've experienced some ripple effects of it with the flight delays and probably me not seeing my family over the holidays. But I want people to be looking at, should government be doing this at all? If this is how incompetent you are.
Yeah. Are you willing, because I've done the math on air a couple times, are you willing to say, look, let's open up the government and give the Democrats $1.5 trillion in spending, which equates to $9,200 per taxpayer, in addition to all the other spending to save you a little bit of a line at the airport. I mean, but yeah, it's interesting how I don't want to say it's like a flip flop, but it seems to be that as long as my preferred colored party symbol is the one saying something, then it must be great. It's good, even if it was a couple of years ago, you would be absolutely against it or absolutely for it.
Yep. All right. Plenty of time to dig into this throughout the morning, because we're getting a look at, yes, it's about the right way to do public policy, but this also just reminds you, government doesn't care about you.
Exactly.
Government cares about your votes and your campaign donations and your leverage and the sound bites. Government does not care about you. Can everybody please get this out of your head? Government does not care about you. Don't stop thinking that it does.
But oftentimes your local community cares about
sure.
you. And there are probably a lot of churches out there, probably a lot of charity groups out there that are trying to organize something to help out. So perfect time to stop with this federalist thinking and to go back to local thinking.
Yeah, that's what some of the lessons we should be learning on this. All right, 5:55 right now. Today is All Hallows Eve.
Ooh,
there we go. Tomorrow's Halloween. So
excited.
we actually did get one or two ghost stories. People, it's kind of funny because when you talk to people in person, a lot of times they'll go, "Oh yeah, here's what happened," but to share them with people they don't know, sometimes people are like, I'm going to hold that a little close, because I think there's a lot of people that we love to hear the stories, but sometimes people are kind of embarrassed to say, well, I had something weird happen, because maybe you're afraid people are going to laugh at you or something like that. But if you've got some, we're not going to laugh. I want to read them. I enjoy the stories. I don't necessarily believe what a lot of people believe about ghosts and things like that, but I love the stories, and I've got one of my own that I'm going to say tomorrow.
Ooh,
yes.
I'm excited for that.
Yes. Yeah. Because you weren't here the last time I read this, or I had not read the last time I told it on the air. It's been a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a nice little treat. Thank you.
It is. Because I swear to God, it's just what I saw, what I heard. It's just, and what happened, what it was. I don't know. I'll let people speculate on that, but I want to hear those. So email Jerome or email me. Send us your ghost stories, your personal experiences with anything like paranormal on that.
Yeah, I've already gotten a couple really good ones, as well as the ones that we were reading with Susie on air.
Yeah.
And the other benefit of things like this is I'm still not entirely familiar with the communities around here. So at the very least, you're helping me learn, like, oh, that might be a nice little area to check out, and I can learn my surroundings better.
Especially if you're looking for like that sort of thing, like paranormal stuff. Alton, somebody mentioned the Lemp Mansion. I could not believe I forgot about the Lemp Mansion when somebody said that. Really cool place to go get some lunch. Just super old building, and they've preserved it really well. But there's a lot of stories with the Lemp Mansion. Of course, Zombie Road, but they've got that shut down at night. But there's a lot of this stuff around here. We had somebody mention the Bubbleheads.
Yeah, I've been
in
looking
North
at that.
County. Yeah, I had honestly never heard of that before. So that was interesting as well. So we're going to have a lot of fun with it throughout the rest of the week here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Join us this Sunday right here on News Talk STL for Serenity Wealth Now Radio. This week's special guest featuring Rob and Kathy Connor of Connor Roofing. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how to make sure the goobers stay off your roof when hailstorms arrive. So tune in this Sunday right here at News Talk STL, Serenity Wealth Now Radio, or Serenity Wealth Now social media outlets.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. Amit Thomason. President Trump is homeward bound following his Asia trip that ended with a meeting with Chinese President Xi in South Korea.
On Air Force One afterwards, Trump said that the U.S. would reduce tariffs and China would end restrictions on rare earth exports. Unsurprisingly, Trump said he'd rate the meeting 12 out of 10, and he also gave some idea of future visits between the two leaders. Trump to China in April and Xi to the U.S. sometime after that.
Correspondent Tian McLeod-G. The president has directed the Pentagon to resume nuclear weapons tests after a 30-plus year hiatus. It was called Operation Arctic Frost. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley says it was a massive Biden Justice Department spy operation surveilling the activities of a host of conservative organizations. Also, cell phone records were subpoenaed, including those of Senator Ted Cruz. Grassley calls Operation Arctic Frost the vehicle by which FBI agents and DOJ prosecutors could improperly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus. The nation's food banks preparing for a surge of hungry people if federal assistance is cut off this weekend.
States are scrambling to figure out what to do if federal food assistance comes to a halt on Saturday because of the government shutdown. Food banks and pantries that were already struggling after federal program cuts this year are now bracing for a wave of new people needing help. The Trump administration says it won't use a roughly $5 billion contingency fund to keep food aid flowing, and that it won't reimburse states that temporarily cover the costs. Greg Clugston, Washington.
With the arrests of 5 more people, a total of 7 now in custody in connection with the crown jewel heist at the Louvre in Paris. The gems still missing. On Wall Street this morning, the stocks futures are in the red. Dow futures down 131. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. Going to be a chillier start this morning with temperatures into the upper 30s, lower 40s. Seeing partly cloudy skies that'll give way to a lot more sunshine today. Highs back towards the upper 50s. Seeing winds back out of the north at about 8 to 12 miles per hour. So a little bit of a chillier breeze. Into Friday, Halloween, mostly sunny skies, a high of 60 degrees, a tad bit warmer. Isolated chances of showers into Saturday, mostly dry. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Mike Ferguson.
Big guy, one of the biggest in the world.
Susie Moore.
Do you think he's ready?
He's not ready. St. Louis.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right. You know, it's kind of interesting, the developments on the whole shutdown and the SNAP thing. And I think, Susie, one of the things about the SNAP situation is now it's gotten real and very personal for people. It's not conceptual and ethereal. You know, what are they doing in the suits and ties, and in Fetterman's case, shorts and sweatshirts in Washington, D.C. Now we all know somebody who's directly affected by this.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Here's what's going on. Loaded Dice is out of a job, sort of, at least for the moment.
Uh-oh.
It's as clear as mud. I will explain what's going on here. Also, should we sanction or make a deal with China? We're already making deals with China, but where should we go from here? And another animal shelter is being built in the metro, and this one's big.
Oh,
yeah. Yep. 606. I've got all those details for you. What do you say we do a news dump, everybody?
Sure.
All right.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Okay, he is still on the payroll, but he's not the boss at the moment. Okay, a judge has temporarily removed Alfred Montgomery from office due to the sheriff's detainment by U.S. Marshals. It's basically, the judge is saying you can't do your job when you're in federal custody and you got day-to-day decisions.
It's not a remote position.
No. His lawyer argues, no, he's already made like 3 decisions in the past 2 weeks. That's literally what his lawyer argued.
3 decisions in the past 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah, because he's been in jail 2 weeks now for the Marshals.
3 decisions?
3 decisions. Yeah. And the lawyer's like, see, it can be done. Okay. So Montgomery, as you know, faces multiple criminal charges. His trial is scheduled for November 18th. Another judge appointed former St. Louis Police Chief John Hayden to serve as interim sheriff until either Montgomery returns or a permanent replacement is chosen or elected. Because then we have the other question. The city officials basically say, okay, if Montgomery resigns, which is what Megan Green said on the news yesterday he should do. Kara Spencer has already called for that. But if he resigns or he's convicted and removed or removed through the quo warranto through the attorney general's office, the city says, all right, the comptroller, the board, the mayor will pick a new interim until we have an election. But the attorney general says, no, that's a sheriff's position. The governor appoints those. So because of the city special charter after the great divorce of 18 whatever,
right,
there's actually a little bit of confusion as to who would pick the interim sheriff, but I think everybody agrees it would be interim until the next election.
And I think they maybe agree that Alfred should not be the one holding on to the position.
Everybody agrees with that except Alfred
and his attorney.
That
was was that one of his 3 decisions?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, but as David Amilati was pointing out on KMOV's coverage of this, and David's done a really nice job covering this, he's getting his salary. So he's removed from authority and even the title, but he's still getting his $140 some odd thousand a year salary. And John Hayden now is getting a salary to do the job.
Yeah. I mean, that's so I can understand why legally they want to continue paying him unless
Right.
and until his position is completely terminated. But yeah, that's a cost.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep, exactly. You're not gonna be able to afford a lot of brand new SUVs when you're spending that much money on
No.
extra people. Just saying. All right. Let's see here. What else is going on here? Okay, let's talk about some of the Snap stuff here because I've got a lot of different thoughts on that throughout the morning, and we're getting some folks who are sending in, "Hey, did you know this? Did you know this?" So if there's anything good about it, it's people are looking at the program saying there's some changes we need to be making. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins was on Fox Business Network's Kudlow talking about obviously the government shutdown and the whole controversy over the SNAP benefits. She says the silver lining in the shutdown is that it has sparked a national conversation about SNAP.
The American people are waking up to the fact that 1 of every 8 Americans gets a welfare check from the government for food. That's the bad news. The good news is over the last 6 months since the president was inaugurated, we have moved 645,000 people off of SNAP into the workforce.
Okay, that's the conversation we should be having about these programs, is judging them as successful when people stop using them.
Correct.
Yeah. But we don't think like that for some reason.
Well,
or government doesn't think like that for some
reason. That's the thing. I mean, there's, anything that's set up to deal with a quote unquote problem has a vested interest in there continuing to be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Missouri is moving money to fill some of the gap in food assistance that's expected due to the forthcoming disruption in federal SNAP benefits. Governor Mike Kehoe is moving $10.6 million from the Senior Services Growth and Development Fund into Missouri's area agencies on aging. So that's going to provide more state support for senior meal programs. Another $5 million is being sent to food banks using temporary assistance for needy families funds. So there's a little bit, but you're talking about a tiny fraction of what the actual monthly expenditures are. And so this, frankly, is going to buy maybe a week or two. And that's about it. But it's what the state, I guess the governor can do under the current budget, under the current laws.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that I think people don't understand. And I did hear Brooke Rollins say this yesterday. I don't know what show she was on, but she was like, there's not just like a pot of money sitting there that we can just go, oh, we're going to use this. There are hoops that have to be jumped through.
Right.
There are rules and regulations that come with how money is expended.
Right.
Now, does that answer the question about whether or not they have the funds in some other way that they could shift over to this? I don't know for sure.
Right.
But I do think people have this sort of naivety about that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because, they'll argue, well, the money's right there. They've got the money, which everybody agrees. Well, the money's sitting right there. But part of the transparency of spending money is that you have to vote and clearly define what you're going to do with it. And that's the policy mess that's blocking all this. All right. Let's see here. This is interesting. A Republican senator calling for sanctions on China. Here's the story.
Republican Ted Budd of North Carolina has written a lengthy article in The Hill pointing out the details of Beijing's latest crackdown on Christians. Budd says it's time for the U.S. to punish the Communist Party for its increasing violations of international religious freedom statutes, adding, quote, any Chinese official who is responsible for or has directly carried out abuses against religious groups must face strict U.S. sanctions. He's also introduced a sanctions bill in the Senate. Michael Harrington reporting.
Okay, well, that's not exactly how the president sees it. Donald Trump heading back to the U.S. after wrapping up his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. That happened in South Korea on, a little bit technically on Thursday, so a little bit earlier today when you look at the time.
Wednesday night our time.
Wednesday night our time. President says the two leaders could sign a trade deal pretty soon.
We have not too many major stumbling blocks. We have a deal. Now, every year we'll renegotiate the deal, but I think the deal will go on for a long time.
Okay, so the president says Chinese imports are going to face 47% tariffs, and that is a reduction down from the 100% tariffs he threatened after China expanded some export controls on things like rare earth minerals.
Mm-hmm. Well, he got to sit down and try to make a deal with one of his most formidable opponents, so I think he probably enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah. Well, when he's doing his deal making, I mean, that's what he basically lives for,
exactly.
Is making deals.
Now,
yeah.
Are they going to be beneficial and are they going to stick is the next question.
Right, exactly. Okay, so President Trump, by the way, this is a follow-up to what we talked about yesterday. He appears to be ruling out a third term. So we're finally getting there. this.
Donald Trump has been publicly toying with the idea of running for a third term in the White House, even though the Constitution's 22nd Amendment says no one can be elected president more than twice. He told reporters aboard Air Force One that if you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. However, the president didn't rule out entirely the possibility of staying in office despite that, saying, "We'll see what happens." Greg Clugston, Washington.
I'm just going to leave that right there. Okay. APA of Missouri breaks ground on a new facility in North County that will be built on Benham Road.
Okay.
Sarah Javier is the CEO of APA, and she tells KMOV that the new facility is going to provide more than just adoptions.
In North St. Louis County, we recognize that there were not resources for pets. So in order to help a pet thrive and remain in their home, they need access to veterinary care, general wellness services, a place to get good quality food, as well as just behavior training and other things that help a pet thrive.
So construction should be completed on the $27 million facility in 2027, early 2027. So actually, it's a pretty impressive looking facility from you look at the blueprints of it or the renderings of it. And so they're looking at basically a year and a half, 2 year and 9 months to get it done.
Now, remind me, because my brain is, is this the same organization that was having the trouble with the overcrowding?
Nope.
No.
That was the
Humane
county
Society,
one.
yeah.
Now here's the thing is the APA came in and took over for a while.
Okay.
Got it back up and running and then handed it back to the county, and then the county flubbed it all up again.
Okay.
And so, so a lot of shelters are dealing with overcrowding right now.
Oh, yeah.
So this is actually just going to be a good thing, but they're looking at this being a much bigger thing than just the kennels for the animals to process adoptions. All right. Blue Jays are 1 win away from a world championship.
Yikes.
Yeah. That's after last night's 6-1 win in Los Angeles. Today is a travel day. No game today. The World Series will resume tomorrow in Toronto, with the Jays having a 3-2 lead.
Inspiration, you have a soul sewn up, it is no more. And all the ones depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now!
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I have smelled alcohol in your breath. Anything else?
No.
No.
No. Besides my meds.
On News Talk STL.
Yes, it's been really hot and humid, but fall and winter right around the corner. Tim Jones here to tell you, time to get a hold of Chad Hansen and the gang at Hansen's Tree Service for your home or your business. Grinding, land clearing, green waste recycling, tree consulting, removal, or pruning. The organic mulch from Hansen's a wonderful addition to beautify and spruce up all your landscape beds. They offer substantial volume discounts for bulk orders and emergency tree removal. Just go to hansenstree.com. That's hansenstree.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kate Monroe.
I was in the Marine Corps. I don't think people really understand that the National Guard is essentially your neighbors. I mean, this would be like your house is on fire and all the great men and women on your block that are capable of helping you put out said fire, you call the police on them and then let your house burn down. That is essentially what these cities are doing because Orange Man wants to send people to help us. We're going to go ahead and let it just burn down.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Looking for treasures from the past? Discover Mimi's Antiques Attic, your locally owned and family-operated treasure hunt destination. Explore 16,000 square feet of antiques, crafts, collectibles, and designer items across 225 unique rental spaces. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sundays, 10 to 6 at 1000 Warrenton Shops in Warrenton. Mimi's Antiques Attic, where every visit uncovers new treasures.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here, waiting for you for the 3 Martini Lunch, the Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Now back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, I want we got a lot of important issues, like real stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, but I want to start the day lamenting the loss of common sense in America.
Well, it's worth lamenting.
Okay, so, and I'm going to tap into your legal experience
Okay.
here. You've been in a courtroom or two.
I have.
How do judges, I don't want to stereotype judges, but how do judges tend to react if they feel somebody is being disrespectful in the courtroom? I mean, like to the court, capital C, the system.
Not well. You do not want to be the one who is the subject of their focus if
Right.
that's the issue. They will lay down the law.
Yes. Okay. So this story comes out of Michigan. This is so ridiculous. And so there was a case, I think it was like a DUI case or one of those things, but the police officer who writes the ticket, makes the arrest, they've got to testify.
Sure.
And so this was a case in Detroit where the police officer was set to testify, but they were allowing him to do it on a Zoom thing. Oh, you kind of know where this is going, don't you? So I guess probably because I'm gonna guess the officer wasn't on duty yet. The court was, let's just say, in the morning, and he works the night, whatever it is.
Sure.
So they're letting him Zoom in for the hearing. And he sets the laptop, on the, I guess, coffee table, and he's sitting on the sofa, which means it's looking up at you,
Mm-hmm.
which means it can see what you're wearing or you're not wearing. So here's how the crucial moment happened here.
Yes, Officer Jackson, badge number 3919, out of the 12th precinct.
All right. Today you got some pants on, officer?
Sir, they're in the... No, sir.
No, sir. He did not have pants on. He was wearing his uniform shirt with his badge, but he was wearing like boxers and bare-legged right there on the camera in the courtroom. The judge is like, what?
Now, to his credit, he said, no, sir.
He
He
did.
answered right away and didn't try to go, oh. So I will give him credit for that.
So he went and put something underneath the computer and got a better angle, because I saw the video and you're looking at the guy and his knees are right there, and you're just looking at his legs right on up to his skivvies.
So, okay, I want to understand something. In the age of COVID, we all got used to the
Yes.
idea of the Zoom meetings, the G chat, all those sorts of things where you were going to be on camera. Who doesn't check their
I
camera
know.
shot before? Now I'm sitting here in front of a camera and I haven't really checked my camera shot, but that's because I trust Jerome.
That's right.
He's in charge of that.
Yes. Officer
But
Jackson did not have a producer,
he didn't have
director,
Jerome there
didn't
with
have
him
a board
directing.
operator doing
Who
that.
doesn't look in the camera first to make sure that you don't have something hanging out of your nose or there's nothing weird behind you?
Yeah.
Or
Because we saw a few of those like bloopers from COVID. If you look those up
yeah,
on
there
YouTube,
were.
there's some pretty funny stuff out there.
Yeah, and it's but I don't know. There were times when I would get on court calls with like 40 lawyers.
Yeah.
And 38 of them were muted. And one person inevitably was like, Joan, can you bring me the coffee? And it's like, dude, mute yourself. Come on. It's like not that hard.
Oh man. So the Detroit Police Department, now that story is everywhere in that city, as you would think.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the most infamous cop now, Officer Jackson, who every time he pulls somebody over, that they're going to be using the judge's thing. It's like you figure out that that's the guy and you're like, you got no pants on?
Maybe he was moonlighting as a stripper. Sometimes
could
the
be.
cops with the, that's one of the outfits.
Or just mooning. Yeah.
I choose to believe that's how he shows up to duty every day.
Yes.
Like that just didn't occur to him because he never wears
It's very
pants.
disarming. It's very disarming.
Very intimidating. Yeah.
Okay.
So the Detroit Police Department is like, we're going to have a chat with everybody about wearing pants when you're in the court proceedings.
Yeah.
So we're gonna...
Just as a rule of thumb.
Yeah.
In person, on camera, just pants.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And on Rumble PMS 3105, it says, hey, points for honesty.
That's again, I appreciate the fact that he was direct and
that's right.
Owned it right away.
Gosh. Oh goodness. All right. So I don't know who has less common sense, that cop who didn't wear pants or Alfred Montgomery. So who has less common sense?
Well, consequentially, Alfred Montgomery.
Right.
Hands down. No contest.
Yeah. So
hands down, different issue.
Yeah. hands down and behind your back. So here's what's bizarre is that, you talk about the consequentially thing. He is fighting this. He's sticking it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on one hand, you can say, well, he probably knows that he is not long for the sheriff's office.
Probably.
I don't know how anybody, even if you're crazy, and I'm convinced now this guy's crazy, I don't know how anybody's going to think, no, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to win this thing. So if you know you're not going to beat it, Megan Green, the president of the board of aldermen, the mayor, the governor, the attorney general, they're all saying you need to resign. Republican, Democrat, they're all in agreement on this. And he's fighting it. So I guess I kind of get, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to get kicked out, might as well cash as many checks as I can.
Yeah.
So I get that. But I got to think, dude, there's a basic human decency here. Look at what you're doing to your entire community.
Yeah, but I think that ship sailed when he engaged in the behavior, allegedly.
Yeah.
That he's charged with.
Some of it's
engaging in.
allegedly. Others he's just admitted to
I
and
know.
just said, I shouldn't be convicted for.
Right.
But there's a lot of the allegedly.
Yeah. So it seems to me that his his judgment as far as what is and isn't appropriate left the building.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the right thing to do, the the noble thing to do, if you would be to step aside and say,
right,
you know what? Yeah.
I'm done. Yeah. Hopefully, I'll be able to be hired as a, security guard at Target or something.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's got a criminal background.
Yeah, they
he
may
shouldn't
may
be
not
a
be able
security
to.
guard.
Yeah.
And so, to my knowledge, there are no like co-conspirators or anybody that was like in the know that just enabled it. This is all okay. I had a hypothesis that perhaps this was all like 4D chess, so that he's trying to expose the corruption of the system and go deep undercover. But no, it just sounds like this guy's a maniac.
So here's what's interesting is the city is now having a conversation about, well, should the sheriff's office just be appointed?
Yeah.
I don't like that personally. Just because I don't trust with the history of the city of St. Louis to pick a good sheriff, when you look at a lot of those. But I understand why they're having the conversation.
Sure.
But here's the other part of this. The sheriff's office has been around for over 100 years. This is the first massive corruption thing. And they're saying, well, maybe we need to just change the whole system. You got one really bad apple here. Do you change the whole thing because you got one guy who's causing a lot of problems?
No, not necessarily, because I don't think you can say that the system itself fostered this particular situation. I think that kind of gets into the power struggle between the city and the state, and who's running what, and so I think that probably goes more to that than.
I think you're right, because it's weird because the sheriff's office needs to be funded, and the city has the funding, but the sheriff doesn't actually report to the city, because he's elected separately. So the city officials aren't his boss, but they are his sugar daddies and mamas.
That is a little bit of a weird,
yeah.
So then where do your responsibilities lie to the citizens of the city of St. Louis, but who's writing your paycheck? Who do you answer to?
Right.
Well, I mean, again, I just think it underscores the fact that everything's screwy with the city of St. Louis. I mean, exactly. I think maybe a system that was set up well-intended initially has some major flaws.
Right. Because at this point, there's also somebody said, well, why not just roll the sheriff's office into the police department and just have a unit and division that does the court stuff? I think that could work. I mean,
maybe,
especially if you have a designated arm of the police department that does this, basically what the sheriff's office does. And then if nothing else, they would be equipped to be additional law enforcement when needed.
Yeah.
Although there'd be a temptation to pull from the court security and stuff if there's a shortage in other parts of town.
Yeah, and I'm forgetting this, but a couple years ago, I belonged to a Republican women's group, and one of the members, her husband, is a sheriff out in St. Charles County, and he came in. He kind of gave us like a rundown of the history of sheriffs.
Yeah.
And there's a whole facet of that I never, because you just think of them as law enforcement, like the police, but there's a whole separate history, and there's a reason for that So I do think that there's a problem with just this idea of integrating sheriff's offices into police offices because they were set up differently for a reason and they fulfill different purposes. They're just both law enforcement.
And I keep looking at this whole thing. It's like the sheriff, and the thing with Montgomery is that the duties of his office, and I mean like the department, are very small.
Serving subpoenas and warrants.
Yep. Obviously security at the courthouse, driving suspects and prisoners back and forth from the jail to the court and possibly from the jail to the doctor and back.
Right.
That's it. That's all they are charged with doing. That is it. You're the bailiffs. You're the security. Very important job.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt. Obviously, I would suspect no law enforcement likes the job of serving papers, evictions and whatever else. They're not going to like that, but that's just somebody's got to do it kind of thing. But a good administrator should be able to run that department and keep the trains running on time on that.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're a seasoned law enforcement veteran, grizzled veteran who's been on the streets, I don't know in that
Those are
case.
two separate things.
Yeah, those are two different things. I don't know that that's necessarily needed for this particular version of a sheriff's office. Now, you're talking about a county sheriff somewhere.
Right.
That's patrolling law enforcement, responding to 911 calls, that sort of thing. That's just not what they do in the city.
No. Makes you wonder.
Yeah.
That SNAP funding proposal from Josh Hawley turned out to be popular with all the Democrats and some of the Republicans, but not with the right Republicans. So we're going to explain that at 6:35.
One more day to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. One more day to Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. Going to be a chillier start this morning with temperatures into the upper 30s, lower 40s. Seeing partly cloudy skies that'll give way to a lot more sunshine today. Highs back towards the upper 50s. Seeing winds back out of the north at about 8 to 12 miles per hour. So a little bit of a chillier breeze. Into Friday, Halloween, mostly sunny skies, a high of 60 degrees, a tad bit warmer. Isolated chances of showers into Saturday, mostly dry. The first alert for Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
During tax season, your personal info travels to a lot of places you can't control. Between payroll, your home office, your tax preparer, and the IRS, if your W-2 gets exposed, that's just the ticket for identity thieves. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story today, illegal wiretapping of a U.S. Congresswoman.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right. Boy, the SNAP, the whole SNAP and food thing has taken another twist in the politics of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got so many layers to this, Susie.
Lots of them.
Lots of layers. There's the political side of it, which is what politicians are worried about. Both sides say, we just need to do this part. And so somebody comes with an idea, says, okay, let's do this part. And now the answer was, well, no, we're not going to do this part. We have to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which I get the political arguments of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what's going to happen at that individual level here? 634 right now. So it looks like Josh Hawley's SNAP funding idea is DOA in the Senate. That's what it looks like. Now, we talked about this yesterday. And we all, I think, guys, tell me if I'm misrepresenting what you said, but I think we all kind of went, oh, okay, that makes kind of sense. This should be an easy one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't misrepresent anybody here.
No,
that's probably one of the easiest sort of. If
Yeah.
you agree with it, and that's one of your talking points right now, then you should absolutely support it and go on record that you didn't support it if you're not going to be using that rhetoric.
So the Republican leadership is saying no to this.
And I would have they really elaborated on why?
Yes. John Thune in particular
Mhm.
says we're not going to piecemeal this with standalone bills. We need to agree on a spending plan. Overall, we're not going to piecemeal it. We're going to deal with the whole thing. That was his answer to that.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right. Politically, I get that.
Sure.
There's the optics of it, because I think both sides are trying to leverage that, but now both sides can have the fingers pointed at him to some degree,
Yeah.
at least politically, optically, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. The thing that I'm struggling with is that last week there was a vote on a standalone bill that would just fund the military and
Right.
essential workers.
Right.
And Thune voted against that, but Thune's voted
Yeah.
no on several of these as a strategic move that has to do with parliamentary
Let's
procedures.
explain that real quick.
Yeah.
though, because a lot of people will jump all over that. In the Senate rules,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about the House, you can only bring something back up for another vote if you were one of the no votes.
Correct.
So if you just lost, you can't just go, let's do it again.
Mm-hmm.
If you were somebody who actually voted against something that failed, you can bring that up. That's just a Senate rules thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so there have been a number of these votes where he has voted no, not because he disagrees with the bill, but because he doesn't have the votes to get it over the 60 vote threshold.
Right.
So that makes sense. And I don't know if that was his reasoning on that one, but that didn't get that sort of pushback from leadership that I saw that we're getting on this. And I feel like that's problematic from an optics standpoint.
Yeah. So KMOV, Cameron Bopp, did a story on Josh Hawley's proposal. Wesley Bell is is getting involved with that, with the version of this in the House,
right?
As well, and even Chuck Schumer is in this story as well. So here's where this stands with Hawley's proposal. This is from KMOV.
When it comes to SNAP, the only solution here is we need to appropriate the money.
Missouri's Republican U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has a bipartisan bill to keep SNAP funded, but will a majority of his fellow Republicans back it?
42 million people are about to go without food, including a lot of children. In my state, it's 650,000 people. I mean, that's extraordinary. It's 12% of the American population.
We're ready to work in whatever way to solve this issue. There's a bill right now from Senator Hawley. It's a bill I'd happily support and vote for.
Congressman Bell agrees, saying feeding America should be a bipartisan effort.
So this isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. We're fighting for Americans.
Okay, so all the Democrats basically say, okay, we're on board. 11 Republicans say, okay, we're on board. That's enough right there to pass it. So the votes are there to pass it, but it's not being placed on the calendar for a vote because the Republican leadership says, we're not going to piecemeal this problem. We're going to go right and solve it. So Democrats caused the shutdown that have caused the disruption in SNAP. Republicans offered a solution, but Republicans said no to that solution.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it is. And I understand the strategy of it, but Republicans have had the high ground on the whole shutdown issue throughout this, even if not everybody was arguing,
Right. Agreed. Yeah.
presenting it that way. They really have. This puts them in a precarious position, I think.
Yeah, so Don says that he was surprised to find out that CNN is actually calling the Democrats out on this
Yeah,
for
they
not
have been.
Yeah, they
reopening the
did. Yeah,
government.
yeah.
And then PMS, I think, is echoing what you were saying earlier about how this could actually, the optics of this could backfire heavily on the Republicans. I can understand this from a point of view of this, the SNAP and everything else that they might be worried about would be getting its regular programming if the government was opened.
Mhm.
Because, and again, the Republicans gave the Democrats something they already supported and they already approved. So does it actually make sense, though, to say, well, you are stalling everything else from going forward, you Democrats, and yet you're concerned about this now, which you would have if you would just reopen the government. So, of course, we'll give you the SNAP funding that you want in the single issue thing while you continue to blockade the reopening of the government. Because I see that as potentially being a sort of, aha, we can keep the government closed, but we can keep pushing through the things that we want to get done.
The problem with that is this. We've been all over the Democrats for saying this is the only leverage they have. If we're now turning around as Republicans and using that as leverage to get, then we're in the same boat. And that is a problem. And I mean, I like Leader Thune. I think he has done a very nice job at trying to kind of shepherd his flock through this. But I think this is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I have a feeling this is probably what Senator Hawley proposed is probably a big headache for Thune, because he's like, oh crap, look at the position you
I wonder
put
why
us
they
in.
didn't have a
confab
on that.
And there's a lot that I critique Josh Hawley about. But there's also a lot that he does well. And I respect anybody who's willing to buck their own party to do something that that would be, frankly, just the right thing to do. Now, again, the bigger picture here is if 12% of Americans are dependent on the government to have food on your plate, then we've got a much bigger problem than the blue ties and the red ties not getting along in Washington, D.C. That is far too much dependency on government in the first place.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, I appreciate the fact that at least Secretary Rollins is pointing out that they are taking efforts, setting aside the shutdown. They are making efforts to move people off the program.
SeaWorld says piecemeal bills are literally the correct thing. Thune is not very intelligent. So what's the problem with piecemeal legislation then?
If you're just voting on the same level of funding, which my understanding of the bill is that we're going to take this part that was already the level of spending and just authorize that. I don't think there is a problem with it. And honestly, piecemeal voting to me kind of seems to be a little more transparent. I mean, that's like single issue stuff.
Yeah, it does. Except for the only thing I can see it as, okay, now we're going on day 30 of this shutdown. And if, I don't know how many pieces there are to piecemeal out, but if we're going to do that, then how long is the shutdown itself going to drag on? And then we're never going to get to actually doing the appropriations and actually funding the government the appropriate way.
Yeah. I mean, that's I get both sides of it. There just seems to be kind of overwhelming support for even those of us who say there's way too big of a welfare state.
Yeah.
But it's just what we've got right now. There are a lot of people who should not be dependent on the government who are. But that's what we're dealing with right now.
I'm going to go back to my embracing the power of and.
Yes.
You can say we should improve the situation in the system so that not so many people are dependent on it, but at the same time, in the immediate time frame, we should, make sure that those services, that money is there.
Can you imagine if a lot, and by the way, this welfare state, this isn't just creating dependency of individuals and families. It's also creating dependency of the nonprofits. Of the charitable organizations. Once they start tying their services to federal funding, they are given an incentive to serve more people. Can you imagine if the incentives were you were rewarded somehow for helping somebody becoming self-sustaining and getting off of the system instead of saying, man, your small town charity, just for round numbers, you served 500 families last year. Okay, you know what? We'll increase your funding if you can serve 600 next year.
Right. Well,
which means you need to find or create 600 more dependents.
The incentive should be the charity. Like you're doing this to help people, not you're doing this to line your pockets.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
That's what's created.
And I realize that, money is a big incentive, and that's how a lot of our society operates. But yeah, when there are cross purposes there. And if you get into this business because you want to help people, then that's your incentive, is helping them, not helping yourself.
Your incentive should be working yourself out of a job.
Exactly.
That should be your incentive.
Then you can move on to the next thing that needs your attention.
Yes.
Now, here's a question I have as well, but Vicky's asking, doesn't the law say money cannot be appropriated when the government's closed?
But that's what they're voting on, is to
bypass that.
Yeah, I mean, now remember the shutdown. I mean, like, for instance, they're doing votes and hearings, as you pointed out yesterday. So we talk about the government shutdown. We're talking about the authorization to fund the different things. So they can pass the appropriations. I mean, I don't think there's a legal problem with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be a catch-22 if there were.
Right.
And I'm assuming they'd be aware of that. I don't know.
And again, I'm not totally opposed. The libertarian in me is coming up. I'm not totally opposed to it. I mean, other than me being, caught up in the airport, and that's a sign of what's to come.
Yeah.
It hasn't affected my life other than experiencing, shutdown created delays, in the Philadelphia airport.
Yeah.
So those of us who are not dependent on the government, we're not feeling this. And so that's what I kind of hope a lot of people will step back and go, why am I paying that much to the federal government when they're shut down? It doesn't change my life. And whose lives are being changed? Those who are dependent on government. Either you have full-time employment with the government, and right now you're not working because you're not essential. We don't need you. Or you're dependent on it instead of being self-sufficient.
Yeah.
That should ask a lot of self-reflective questions as well.
Should.
But unfortunately probably won't. Now,
yeah,
another conflict over
correct.
The food stamps is in the courts, with many blue states suing the Trump administration over the funds not going out this weekend. We'll dig into that at 7:05.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
People talk about federal money as if it falls from heaven. We thank heaven for it, but it came out of people's pockets.
On News Talk STL.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
Still kind of bummed that Lita Ford did not play this song a few weeks ago at the show at the Family Arena.
Yeah, but on the bright side, the songs that they did play, phenomenal.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
That's right. You guys went to a concert
We
together,
did. We
didn't you?
went. It was Lita Ford and Dee Snider and Firehouse, and then there was a new band that I'd never heard of called Red Voodoo. They were good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
I actually like
you,
them.
you ever throw up the horns, do some metal, Susie?
Not unironically.
What's on your playlist?
Oh boy. I mean, right now I'm kind of into country.
Okay.
But yeah, like I'm a kid of the 80s. Like any of the 70s and 80s rock.
Okay. We're good.
I'm down.
Yep. You can stay.
Our culture is not your comedy.
That's
okay?
right. Sorry.
Stop doing things ironically.
Says you, Jerome.
That's right. All right. Here's the updates that are happening around the area. Loaded Dice is out of a job, at least for right now. He's not out of a paycheck, though. And another animal shelter is being built in the metro area. 6:49 right now. Let's go ahead and do a news dump.
The morning news dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke? Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
All right. He is still on the payroll, but he's not the boss. Not at the moment.
Okay.
A judge has temporarily removed Alfred Montgomery from office due to the sheriff's detainment by U.S. Marshals. I still just crack up that I'm reading these words.
Yeah.
Wow. Montgomery faces multiple criminal charges, as I'm sure everybody knows. His trial is scheduled for November 18th. Another judge appointed former St. Louis Police Chief John Hayden to serve as interim sheriff until either Montgomery returns or a permanent replacement is chosen or elected. John Hayden, of course, the retired police chief from St. Louis, who retired in 22, I think is when he retired, something like that. And so at this point, either Montgomery is fighting to the bitter end or he's just cashing as many paychecks as he can while he can get them.
I guess so. Alfred.
Come on, Loaded Dice. Man. All right. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins was on Kudlow on Fox Business Network talking about the government shutdown and the effort to keep SNAP benefits for millions of Americans going. She says, and this is interesting, the silver lining in the shutdown is that it sparked a national conversation about SNAP.
The American people are waking up to the fact that 1 of every 8 Americans gets a welfare check from the government for food. That's the bad news. The good news is over the last 6 months since the president was inaugurated, we have moved 645,000 people off of SNAP into the workforce.
Okay, of course, that's the conversation we're seeing all over here with 667,000 Missourians on SNAP and 2 million Illinoisans on SNAP.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 12 to 14% of the population essentially between the two states.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people on there. But the secretary is right when she's saying what we should be looking at is how many people were moving off of it. And that's the right goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Missouri is moving money to fill some of that gap in food assistance. That's expected to happen because of the disruption in federal SNAP benefits, which by the way, starts in about, 38 hours or something like that. Governor Mike Kehoe is moving $10.6 million from the Senior Services Growth and Development Fund into Missouri's area agencies on aging. And so what that's going to do is it's going to provide more state support for senior meal programs. And another $5 million is being sent to food banks. Basically, this is sending it out earlier than it was already scheduled to go out. That's going to be using the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families funds, and that will provide basically some extra food that's going to be available to people who are on the welfare programs.
Gotcha.
Yep. Okay. President Donald Trump heading back to the U.S. after wrapping up his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea. The president says the two leaders could have a deal in effect really, really soon, although it sounds like they've agreed on the details in principle.
We have not too many major stumbling blocks. We have a deal. Now, every year we'll renegotiate the deal, but I think the deal will go on for a long time.
Okay, so the president says Chinese imports are going to have 47% tariffs, but that's down from the 100% tariffs that he threatened after China expanded export controls on things, including rare earth minerals that are needed for so much technology right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. I mean, I don't trust Xi as far as I could throw him, but hopefully we can benefit from this.
Yep. All right. There was a big Turning Point USA event last night.
Yes, there was.
Yeah. Okay. So Turning Point USA CEO Erica Kirk spoke alongside the vice president, JD Vance, addressing students at the University of Mississippi, where she said that this generation is, in her words, living at a crossroads.
You are living in one of the most defining moments in American history. And we are all witnessing in real time the battle that is raging for the soul of your generation.
And of course, this is 7 weeks after Charlie Kirk's assassination. They had quite a crowd.
They did.
For that.
They did. Yeah, we covered that. We covered Erica's speech and JD Vance's speech. They were both pretty good.
Yep, on redstate.com.
On redstate.com. Yeah, I say we. I should always say Red State.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. You know what we're going to start doing? I think next we're just going to start doing a moment every day where we're going to say what's going on Red State.
Yeah,
we
should.
That. We're going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Yeah. So, but it's kind of funny because some of the mainstream media that I was looking around this morning, the headline wasn't, Erica Kirk, challenges students. It was, Vice President JD Vance spars with students at Ole Miss TPUSA event and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was the headline that I saw in some of those. So.
Yeah. That just, I don't know. I mean, I know he took questions, but he also gave a great speech. Maddening.
I know. There you go. All right. APA of Missouri. APA, by the way, is where we got Rosie the cat.
Oh.
Yep. Full name. Did I ever tell you Rosie's full name?
I feel like you did, but I don't remember what it was.
It's Rosie's full name is Rosalita Dumbutt Ferguson.
Oh.
That's her full name.
I love that.
So when she gets in trouble, that's what she's called. But just in normal day-to-day, she's just Rosie. But we got her at APA years ago. APA of Missouri breaks ground on a new facility in North County that's going to be built on Benham Road. Sarah Javier is the CEO of APA, and she tells KMOV that the new facility is going to provide more than just pet adoptions.
When it comes to SNAP.
Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong KMOV audio. Here it is. This is Sarah Javier.
In North St. Louis County, we recognize that there were not resources for pets. So in order to help a pet thrive and remain in their home, they need access to veterinary care, general wellness services, a place to get good quality food, as well as just behavior training and other things that help a pet thrive.
So construction should be completed on the $27 million facility sometime in 2027. They're actually looking at early 2027. So we're looking at about a year and a half to get the whole mini campus up and running, which is that's reasonable. Yeah, I think so. And I think it's interesting that they're now going to a more than just adoptions situation. We know of food deserts for people,
right?
You never think of food deserts for critters.
Yeah, but it's a big thing because as somebody, volunteering at a shelter, one of the reasons that you get animals brought in is because people adopt animals and then can't care for them appropriately because they don't have the support system to do it. And, that's on them for not recognizing what it takes. But it's great if you've got that.
Right.
Those
or
services
something
there.
changes. Maybe you get laid off. I mean, 7 o'clock hour, there's a lot of layoffs happening right now.
There are.
And animals aren't always cheap to take care of.
They're never cheap.
No, not at all. So, all right. World Series, the drama continues. This is exciting. The Blue Jays are 1 win away from a world championship after last night's 6-2 win in Los Angeles. Now today's travel day, so no game for the World Series tonight. But the World Series will resume tomorrow in Toronto with the Jays having a 3-2 games lead over the Dodgers, meaning obviously if the Blue Jays, if they win on Friday, it's over. They are the world champions for the first time since 1993. If they lose, then there is a Game 7 between what I truly believe are the 2 best teams in baseball.
Well, the excitement is there.
It's been a good World Series. It really has.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Need promotional products or apparel for your business? Look no further than Blue Sky Promotions. This woman-owned, locally operated company in Bridgeton specializes in anything and everything promotional. From branded apparel and uniforms to custom giveaways and marketing materials, Blue Sky Promotions has you covered. Whether you're looking to stand out at a trade show, build brand awareness, or reward your employees, Blue Sky Promotions has the solutions you need. Visit BlueSkyPromotions.com or call 314-739-3531.
Why are you going to work? It's Sunday.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL, JC's Sunday Showgram.
This week, we'll talk about some of the crazy lawsuits I've been involved in. Plus, back in the VCR days, some of us had a lot of trouble with the clock, especially at daylight saving time. And we'll talk about the scandalous radio people who took the money and ran, trying to sell you on scams like body solutions.
Sunday morning, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on NewsTalkSTL.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
From Town Hall, Amit Thomason. Following his meeting with China's President Xi in South Korea, President Trump says he'll be reducing tariffs on Chinese goods. China will buy American soybeans, lift restrictions on rare earth exports, and will take steps to deal with fentanyl production. President Trump wants to make sure the U.S. does not fall behind in nuclear weapons technology.
President Trump says he's ordered the War Department to resume nuclear weapons testing, quote, immediately. The president says he wants the Pentagon to match other nations' programs. He also calls this move a necessary step to maintain global parity. Mr. Trump wrote in a Truth Social post Wednesday night, quote, the United States has more nuclear weapons than any other country.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart. The government shutdown now into its 30th day as Senate Democrats refuse to pass a GOP bill to reopen the government. Republican Senator Steve Daines says the Dems may come to regret that.
This is turning against them. We've seen recent polling data reported by CNN, no less, that show actually the approval rating of Republicans in Congress are going up among independent voters as a result of the shutdown.
Daines on the Salem Radio Network. French authorities investigating this month's heist at the Louvre now have a total of 7 people in custody.
Crowds of visitors lined up outside the museum in Paris on Thursday as a local prosecutor announced 5 more arrests in the investigation into the dramatic theft of crown jewels. The 5 were detained late on Wednesday night in separate police operations in Paris and surrounding areas. The prosecutor did not release their identities or other details.
Correspondent Karen Chama says the jewels are still missing. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures are mixed. Dow futures are down 123 points. NASDAQ futures 4 points higher, and the S&P futures are up 2. More on these stories, townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. Going to be a chillier start this morning with temperatures into the upper 30s, lower 40s. Seeing partly cloudy skies that'll give way to a lot more sunshine today. Highs back towards the upper 50s. Seeing winds back out of the north at about 8 to 12 miles per hour. So a little bit of a chillier breeze. Into Friday, Halloween, mostly sunny skies, a high of 60 degrees, a tad bit warmer. Isolated chances of showers into Saturday, mostly dry. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
Mike Ferguson.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Susie Moore.
They look very aggressive. I think they want to beat me up.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
Okay, far be it from me to accuse politicians of worrying more about the optics than the actual content. I would never do that. Just like I would never use sarcasm on the radio. Just saying.
Never say never, Mike.
No, I know. Okay, so the proposal to keep paying out SNAP benefits, that seems to be a non-starter in Congress, as we've been talking about. So many states are suing to force the payments on this. So we mentioned this lawsuit when it was filed, and we mentioned that because it's going into a particular court, which we'll get into that in a second. And essentially what the states and the District of Washington, D.C. are basically arguing is the administration doesn't have the right to not pay these out, even though Congress has not authorized these payments to go out, essentially. So that's the focus of the lawsuit. And let's find out what kind of merit there is or is not with it. And what we're talking about, Mike O'Neill from Landmark Legal Foundation, our go-to guy in such things as well here. So Mike, lay the foundation for this. What is it that the states are arguing in this case, and that we can get into whether or not there's much validity to it?
Okay, so there's a contingency fund in the SNAP benefits program. There's a $6 billion contingency fund that's utilized, that the Department of Agriculture states is only to be utilized in cases of natural disaster, in national emergencies. So if there's a hurricane that hits, or if something terrible, unforeseen black swan event hits, and there's no Congress has an inability to appropriate that money for an emergency, then that money is held in reserve so that those benefits can be distributed. So the argument comes down to this: is what is an emergency here? Is the Department of Agriculture will argue that Congress's failure to allocate funds or to appropriate funds doesn't constitute an emergency, and it doesn't have the authority to distribute those funds because there is no emergency. The states, about 26 states, including the District of Columbia, as you just said, can argue otherwise. They say that this money is standing by, that this is available, that it's necessary, and that the court should order. Again, here we are. It's good, as you indicated earlier, Mike. It's funny that the court that we're talking about here should order the Department of Agriculture to spend that money, even though Congress hasn't said you have to spend the money on this. And of course, we have the government shutdown, and so Congress hasn't had any kind of allocation or any kind of appropriation for these funds. So it really comes down to this emergency $6 billion fund that's sitting. And of course, we know that that's not enough to fund SNAP benefits for anything more than a week or two. But again, this is more of a political optical thing rather than, I think, a substantive thing.
Mike, this is Susie. Do they have a legal leg to stand on with this? Because I can already see where this is going. I know it's in front of Judge Indira
which
Talwani.
I want to talk about that too.
I have a feeling I know what the court's initial ruling is going to be, and then there'll be appeals. But is there a sound legal argument that this constitutes an emergency when the power to change it rests in the hands of Congress?
Right. I don't think so. And I think what would be an interesting procedural matter, and some other lawyers have talked about this, is if the Department of Agriculture and the administration haul in the Senate Democrats and say, hey, there's something known as third-party impleader. If you want in civil procedure and lawyer procedure, and this is kind of inside the ballpark, but whatever, the government should haul in the senators, Democrat senators, and say, hey, they could fix this problem in a second. All they have to do is vote for the continuing resolution and establish the baseline expenditure level of expenditures that are necessary to keep the government opening and functioning, and of course restore these SNAP benefits, and so that SNAP benefits don't run out. As you guys all know, and everybody knows, these are poised to run out on November 1st. So I think procedurally, if you really want to kind of throw a monkey into the wrench there, if you want to kind of say, hey, let's play some hardball here, I think the administration can seek to haul in Senate Democrats and say, hey, look, that's the party you should be talking to. Those are the individuals who can fix this problem in 1 second if they simply vote for the continuing resolution. And so haul in the Senate Democrats in a third-party impleader case. And again, let's just touch on this. We've been circling it, but it's important to note, what judge is this in front of? This is in front of of course, this is in Massachusetts. That is not a coincidence. It is also in front of the judge who, if you guys recall, ruled that Planned Parenthood had to be refunded. Remember that even though Congress had defunded Planned Parenthood in the big, beautiful bill, this judge said, no, I'm going to rule that this constitutes an unlawful bill of attainder, and Congress needs to restore that funding. So she doesn't hesitate to reach outside the bounds of her judicial authority. Again, I think playing hardball, really hauling in the Senate Democrats and making them argue how that they're the culpable party here rather than the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm glad you said it, because I wanted to go to that question of which judge this is. So, I mean, are we looking at frankly, historically an activist sort of judge? And in this case, back to those optics, Mike, is the administration is required to respond to a lawsuit. So they're essentially putting the Trump administration in a case to argue against the releasing of the money, whether it's appropriate or not. And the media is going to run with that, whether or not it's accurate or fair or in context, or if it's not.
Right. Well, I think just do a little bit of credit to the media. I think they're seeing through this facade that the Senate is pushing. When we're talking about the restoration of SNAP benefits, and including the restoration of the government, I think it's being very clear, and I think the American people see this from a political perspective. They see that the Senate Democrats are really the party that's the bad actors here, that they can fix this almost within the seconds. That Chuck Schumer has done this 13 times before, that a clean continuing resolution just retrains the status quo. And we could debate all of this funding. Again, I guess the Medicaid funding is really what everybody's talking about here. And that's really the hang up for the left and the Democrats here. But that's something that can be discussed and debated over the terms of the weeks that we have where a continuing resolution is passed. So I think the American people see through this. Of course, the left and the Democrats are going to continue to play politics and say, look, there's this $6 billion here. Why aren't they spending it? And I think that's what they're saying. I look to other states. For example, Virginia here is stepping up. My particular state is saying, hey, look, we're going to make up the shortfall here. We have the money. And I think these other states, instead of these 26 states going to court and trying to find this little Band-Aid solution or get a judge to assert authority she doesn't have, or try to go outside the bounds of this, or try to move away the culpability here. And the culpability, again, is at the Senate, is with the Senate Democrats. I think these states should say, hey, we're going to step into the breach and we're going to fund SNAP benefits for people who need them until the government gets its act together, until the Senate Democrats get their act together. Let's talk about the government. It's not the Republicans. It's not the Trump administration. It's the Democrats in Congress, particularly the Democrats in the Senate. So again, I think in terms of this lawsuit, I think really it kind of would be fun and interesting. I think procedurally, if the government, the feds actually haul in the Senate Democrats and say, again, these are the bad actors here. They could solve this problem in 2 seconds. So I think that the American people see through this, Mike. Not to say that this judge isn't going to do what she's going to do, and I think because of past's prologue, if you look at what she's done in the past, I think she's probably going to rule for this. I mean, if I had to just guess, she concocted this theory that defunding Planned Parenthood was a bill of attainder. So what's to stop her from saying this emergency contingency fund needs to be paid out ASAP?
Yeah, Mike, I've I looked up at the case right now, and it doesn't look like there's a hearing set, but they've been moving very quickly on these.
I think there might be one today.
I was going to say, I'm sure there'll be. Go ahead.
I want to say again, this is for me. Yes, a couple of days ago, and I see so many things. But to my best of my knowledge, I think that there was a hearing on a temporary restraining order today. So
probably
there might be some movement on this. And she keep in mind again, just to pull you guys back, she had concluded that defunding Planned Parenthood constituted a bill of attainder, in other words, a legislative punishment, and ordered the government the federal government to restore funding to Planned Parenthood. And she went well outside the bounds of her Article 3 authority in making that conclusion. So I think similarly that she's going to probably order this. So these states might have a win at the district court. It'll go immediately to the appellate court, and then maybe to SCOTUS in an emergency provision. But what can moot all this out, guys? And I know I'm talking a lot of legal baseball here, but I think everybody's following this. What can moot all this out? Well, if the Democrats, again, get off their horse and just open up the government, vote for a continuing resolution, I think we're moving towards that. I think probably that's going to be restored. And I don't think we're going to see much delay in SNAP funding. I think, again, just me just kind of spitballing this, I think you're going to see government reopen probably within 5 to 7 days. I don't see the Democrats holding out. I think there's enough moderates in these senators that are in these vulnerable positions that are going to vote to open up the government and pass a CR.
Is it legally permissible at this point to say a pox on both their houses?
I mean, on both whose houses?
Republicans and Democrats.
No, I don't want to put a pox on the. Again, I'm nonpartisan here, and I'm not a Republican operative or anything. But I'm just looking at this objectively. The Republicans have done everything they can. I mean, you need, as the Speaker of the House said, you need 60 senators for this vote, and they have. And the Republicans have voted consistently. All 53 Republicans in the Senate have voted for this. Obviously, it's gone through the House of Representatives, so there's a majority of Republicans in the House who've gotten the CR through. You need 60 senators to vote for this, and you have Senate. You have Senate Democrats holding the line and not opening up the government. And so I really, trust me, I'm the first one to criticize Republicans on Capitol Hill if I think they're doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, or vice versa, not doing things they should be doing. In this case, I really think it is on the feet of the Democrats in this case. I really do believe, guys, that the American people are seeing this. I think I've seen some polls recently. Just CNN, for example, is showing that most independents, and obviously more Republicans, but a lot of independents really are laying the blame here at the hands of the Senate Democrats.
Yeah. You know, Mike, if this goes up on appeal, I mean, it'll go to the First Circuit, which hasn't been favorable to the administration. But this is one of those that I suspect the Supreme Court would probably smack down pretty quick, don't you?
I think so. I think they would smack it down pretty quickly. Incidentally, the Planned Parenthood one has gone up, and that one's going to be the bill of attainder is actually in front of the First Circuit Court of Appeals as well. But I do think that this would get smacked down. But I do think before all that happened, I think it would be mooted out for the simple fact that Congress would get through a CR. So it wouldn't be something that you would have to even consider about this. But I do think that they know what. Look, the Democrats know what they're doing in this case. The state attorney generals, the folks that are challenging this know what they're doing. It's not a coincidence that they got in front of that Massachusetts judge who has displayed a tendency in the past to be as activist as they come.
All right, Mike O'Neill from Landmark Legal Foundation. As always, we've already tagged you on social media, but go and give out the website so people can keep track of the work that you're doing.
Yeah, landmarklegal.org. Just check out our website. We've got a lot of stuff on all this activist government, activist judges, cases in the Supreme Court, interesting stuff that's coming down the pike. Of course, it's October and going into November. There's a lot of big cases in front of the Supreme Court. So everybody should just keep their ears to the ground to that to the extent they can.
All right. Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
What are you and your family feeling in this economy? Some say things are on the upswing, but there are a lot of layoffs happening these days. We'll dig into that at 7:20.
Don't try to make me stop. Inspiration
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Our country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by idiots.
On News Talk STL.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now.
You know, we just had Ryan from Nutrition Stop in the studio with us yesterday because here we are coming into the holiday season, or as Ryan and the Nutrition Stop folks are putting it, sugar season. And that means you need to take some extra effort to safeguard your health. Mike Ferguson here for Nutrition Stop. And what's always fun is when Ryan's in the studio with us, or when I'm over at Nutrition Stop, you find that expertise that they have helped me with so much. I mean, I appreciate how many people have, complimented me on getting healthier and, frankly, getting smaller and getting stronger all at the same time. And so much of that is because I get my food, real food, not chemically processed foods. I get real food at Nutrition Stop. It's also where I get some of the nutritional supplements, a lot of the nutritional supplements that I use, like the probiotics, which I didn't even know were important until I started talking to Ryan and his team. But also I get some of my protein there. I get my vitamins there because they make sure that they are only putting the right supplements out there, the right things for your nutrition out there, not the cheap stuff, not the chemically watered down stuff, not the stuff with all the preservatives, not the stuff that's actually bad for you, but easy to market, which is what you're going to get in the big box stores. Unfortunately, Nutrition Stop is in St. Peter's on Mexico Road, right off of 70 in Cave Springs. It's really easy to find. That is where I get my protein. It's where I get my bison, which is my favorite. It's also where I get my rice, and it's where I get a lot of my groceries, my vegetables, you name it. I get it there because there is a difference, and I am proof of that. So check them out. Ask the question. Say, I want to really get started on my healthy nutrition journey. How do I do it? They are there to help. NutritionStop.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
So Karen Catalina is going to join us with her husband Thursday at 9:05. And I think we'll read my op-ed piece too that was in Red State at that time. So be with us.
Weekday mornings at 9
on News Talk STL.
Dr. Draghi and his team at Esquire Sports Medicine get pros back on the field, so they can certainly help you. You need an MRI, X-ray, CAT scan, pre or post-surgery treatment, rehab. The chiropractic physicians at Esquire can help you or connect you to experts you need. And I know you're hurting right now. You don't want to wait. Esquire sees new patients often within 24 hours. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Hey, folks, the Clayton Sleep Institute and my friend Dr. Ojal back supporting free common sense conservative radio. ClaytonSleep.com, treating the full range of adult and pediatric sleep disorders from sleep apnea to insomnia, restless leg syndrome, periodic limb movement, and narcolepsy. What an awesome place. New comfy setting for the sleep lab. ClaytonSleep.com, 314-645-5855. Better sleep, better life.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
No buffalo bison is safe if Mike Ferguson is around. Mike Ferguson Show in the morning. Larry Connors USA at 6.
It's kind of true. It's my favorite out there. And what was it? Scooter just asked about, what did he just ask about?
So he would like to know how much does it cost per day to maintain your diet, and is it cheaper than buying at a grocery store or about the same?
It's about the same. Mm-hmm. It's basically about the same, because I get the vegetables there because it's even the frozen ones, because it's the ones that they use don't have the salt, don't have the processing. It's just it's just done differently. The bison is a protein. I get 3 meals out of each pound of that, and so When I switched from the typical grocery store to that, it did not change my budget.
Gotcha.
Put it that way. So I spent a little more for my rice because they have a bigger bag of it. It just means I don't have to buy it. So it all washes out, but it's about the same as the short answer is what I've got there. All right. Real quick here. How about a little Halloween humor? Shall we? Here we go. Sure. Okay. I found this on the internet.
Why don't witches use the most popular dating apps?
I don't know. Why?
Because their ancestors had a bad experience with matches on Tinder.
That's bad. Boo.
Little Halloween humor for you. What, too soon?
Maybe, yeah. Oh, no. That's terrible.
Oh, man. All right. I would say, I'm sorry, but I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
You shouldn't be.
All right. You asked that question just a little bit ago, Susie, going into the information segment regarding how you feeling about the economy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of big layoffs that are happening right now. I didn't realize how many that were actually happening at the moment. And I've got the story up. Let me find the, here it is. Okay. So we mentioned Amazon yesterday, 14,000 positions. Let's see here. Who else do we have here? GM is going to be laying off about 1,700. That's mostly going to hit, looks like Michigan and Ohio.
Yeah.
And that's part of that is they're in that flux with the whole EV mandate thing.
That's the thing.
Yeah. And so they're caught in that because the Trump administration is getting rid of those ridiculous demands and requirements and mandates and all that sort of thing.
Subsidies are going.
Right. And so GM now is in that no man's land. So that's creating a bunch of layoffs there because basically they were being mandated to produce something that nobody wants.
Right.
Although my daughter just bought a Tesla. So I'm anyway.
Well, I mean, if it works for her.
If it works for her, that, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Paramount. They are going to lay off a couple thousand employees. That's going to be about 10% of their workforce. Didn't realize Paramount was that big, but they are here. We talked about Amazon, 14,000 layoffs. UPS. United Parcel Service has disclosed job cuts of 48,000.
What?
48,000.
How big is their workforce?
That's big. I don't know. But yeah, it's in the regulatory filing. UPS said it's cut about 34,000 operational positions, and the company announced another 14,000 role reductions, mostly within management. So 34,000 at the ground level, 14,000 at the manager level.
A lot of managers.
That's a lot. That's a lot of them. That's even higher than they were forecasting. So they originally thought they were going to cut 20,000 jobs, but it's more than double that.
So did they say why they're cutting? What? Because I know Amazon gave their reasoning. They're switching to AI with a lot of stuff.
Right.
With GM, it's the fact that the subsidies are going away for the EVs, so the people that were staffing. But what's UPS's reason?
Okay, so they said it's part of their turnaround efforts that are arriving amid wider shifts in the company's shipping outputs, meaning just people aren't shipping as much stuff. Apparently, I think there's I don't know what the numbers are, but I don't know if people are buying as much stuff right now because stuff is getting more expensive. If you're not buying as much stuff, you're not shipping as much stuff.
Oh, it'd be interesting to see the numbers on that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, year after year, we see loads of layoffs too. If you don't have a job, then how are you supposed to buy the things to give the company the money to hire people? I mean,
Yeah. Target is eliminating about 1,800 corporate positions, which is about 8% of its corporate workforce. Nestle, they are cutting 16,000 jobs. Now that's globally, but a lot of those are in the U.S. Let's see here. There's a couple international ones. ConocoPhillips, they're going to lay off a quarter of their workforce. I don't know what percent. I don't know what the number is on that, but they're going to lay off that many. Intel, they are moving to get rid of thousands of jobs. In the July memo to employees, CEO Lip Bhutan said Intel expected to end the year with 75,000 core workers on the payroll. That's down from about 100,000. So they're looking at about 25,000 jobs that are being cut. And again, it's going to be worldwide. Microsoft, pretty much all in the U.S., began laying off 6,000 workers across the workforce, and now they're saying it's going to be cutting a total of about 9,000 positions. P&G, they're going to cut about 7,000 jobs. And so, these are obviously huge companies, and these are small percentages of their workforce, but that's a lot of jobs. I mean, I just listed a couple 100,000 jobs that are now, some of those are going to be internationally, but a lot of those. So that brings up the question here is what's happening right now, because the pundits and the politicians, they want to tell you things are great. Look at things are on the upswing. We're, recovering. Others are saying, oh my goodness, we're on a razor's edge. What's the reality? What are we actually feeling right now?
What do you think?
I think we're not in as good a position as what people think. I think we are, one, paying the price for trillions of dollars in inventing money out of thin air during the two COVID thing, and we've weakened the dollar so much. Inflation is not as bad as it was, but it's still going up slightly. The reality is, and I know people are going to be mad at me, but some of the companies are citing this, is that we're now starting to bear the cost of the tariffs.
Yeah, I think that's probably true in some instances. I don't think that necessarily explains.
It doesn't explain all of them.
No,
I agree.
I am a little. It would be interesting to dig into and see what the factors are, because each of these companies, there's going to be some overlapping factors, but they're going to be factors that are unique to each of them.
Right.
And the GM one is a really good example. I mean, it's not that those jobs are going away because the demand for those products are going away because the government is no longer subsidizing it, which is a good thing in the long run, even though it's obviously a negative for the people who are losing their jobs.
There wasn't a real demand. That was the government
that was artificial.
Yeah, that was meddling in the market, trying to create something that wasn't there.
Right. And I wonder how much of this is, the government, when the Trump administration came in, there was so much emphasis on DOGE, and basically efficiency was kind of the buzzword. And I wonder how many companies are taking a look and going, you know what? Maybe we need to take a look at that and see how we can be run more efficiently. I know a lot of companies are doing away with their DEI departments.
Yeah.
That's a lot of management type positioning, that sort of thing. So it would be interesting to dig into that.
Yeah.
From a personal standpoint, my situation is getting better.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the OBBB passed. And that my tax rates are not going to go up next year, because I felt the benefit of that when they were first initiated in 2018.
Totally.
So on a personal level, I'm doing better, but I know that's just me and anecdotal.
No, but that's the question. I mean, because we're seeing numbers, and the thing that kind of drives me nuts, especially on the business cable channels, is they live on charts and graphs, and they point and they look, it's going up, or look, it's going down, but that's macro.
Yeah.
I'm talking as micro as can be. What are things looking like in your world? I mean,
they're better. I mean, my grocery bill is a little bit better than it was. My gas bill is a lot better than it was.
Gasoline for your car.
Gasoline for the car. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's down.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's little bits here and there that add up, and they're benefiting me. So
now utility costs, electricity, and that's starting to go up.
Yeah.
We are feeling that. So bottom line is that we have this mishmash of all sorts of factors. Some are good, some are bad. And what happens is, if people are getting mixed messages, sometimes they sort of paralyze their spending. They sort of paralyze their involvement in the economy. And that can add to the problems. But you got to do what you have to do to protect your own finances.
Absolutely. Missouri's Josh Hawley offers a plan to keep the food stamp money flowing. Why did a top Republican say no to it? We'll explain at 7:35.
Also, coming up, Larry Connor's commentary. Californian voters are letting children work with prostitutes.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. Going to be a chillier start this morning with temperatures into the upper 30s, lower 40s. Seeing partly cloudy skies that'll give way to a lot more sunshine today. Highs back towards the upper 50s. Seeing winds back out of the north at about 8 to 12 miles per hour. So a little bit of a chillier breeze. Into Friday, Halloween, mostly sunny skies, a high of 60 degrees, a tad bit warmer. Isolated chances of showers into Saturday, mostly dry. The first alert for Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. but the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Larry Connor's commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Many cities deal with prostitution. It is a crime, sometimes enforced, usually against the women. Often they're let go with not much punishment. Seldom are the Johns arrested, or even the pimps. Some believe prostitution is a victimless crime, but is it? Often the women are forced to hook by a pimp if she wants money, drugs. Get on the streets, earn your money. Again, no punishment for the Johns, seldom for the pimps. In L.A., the 77th Street Police District covers a corridor where prostitution continues to flourish. California police cut funding, so there are fewer officers to make arrests. Plus, the way the laws are, anyone arrested is quickly back on the streets. California voters repealed a law allowing police to arrest many women, claiming black, brown, trans women were being profiled. Now, an untold number of cases, these are not women. Fake eyelashes and wigs make it hard for police to catch minors. How hard? The bill signed by Governor Newsom now has created what many call the kiddie stroll, because many girls are not even 13.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capastrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
The Vic Borselli Show.
It is an honor and a privilege to have U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt.
Hey, I have to tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you this. In the 90s, what would this have been? Mid-90s.
Yeah.
And I was I worked at Grant's Farm, and I had a couple other jobs. In the afternoon, I would often hear and listen to Borselli's Deli on the radio.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making me feel older than I already feel. That's just great.
Vic Borselli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hey, St. Louis golfers, looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
This was the best version of the Dead Daisies with John Corabi singing.
Oh, yeah.
Totally the best version of them.
I will take your word for it because I'm not familiar with them, but I liked it. I was like rocking out.
That's good stuff right there. All right. So, man, the conversation we've just got so much passionate response from people over this whole SNAP thing. And it's interesting because I think that this is personalizing the whole federal government shutdown thing, but maybe not in ways that the politicians expected it to.
Maybe not.
Okay, I think that's fair to say. I know that sounds a little weird to say, because essentially now we see the political system, I'm just going to broadly say that, using people as leverage for politics. But the whole thing is the only reason they can do that is because we've got such a big welfare state, and we've created so much dependence on the government. So Josh Hawley offers this yesterday. And for the most part, I think people looked around and went, oh, well, we can do that. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you know what? If we can't get the continuing resolution, which just keeps everything at the same Biden levels of spending, if we can't do that, millions of people are about to lose SNAP benefits. And so let's just have a standalone bill, authorize the spending on that, appropriate the funds, and then we can still argue over all the other stuff, and the shutdown will continue. At least in the room here, we kind of went, okay,
sure.
It seems like low-hanging fruit. Everybody can take credit for solving the problem.
Right.
Well, Republican leadership says no. John Thune says we're not going to do piecemeal budgeting and legislation. We are going to vote to open the government, or we're not going to vote to open the government.
Mm-hmm.
So KMOV did a story on this yesterday. They talked to the senator. They talked to Wesley Bell, who's basically working on a House version of that bill. And here is what everybody was saying, because the Democrats were like, "Oh, sure, yeah, let's do it."
When it comes to SNAP, the only solution here is we need to appropriate the money.
Missouri's Republican U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has a bipartisan bill to keep SNAP funded, but will a majority of his fellow Republicans back it?
42 million people are about to go without food, including a lot of children. In my state, it's 650,000 people. I mean, that's extraordinary. It's 12% of the American population.
We're ready to work in whatever way to solve this issue. There's a bill right now from Senator Hawley. It's a bill I'd happily support and vote for.
Congressman Bell agrees, saying feeding America should be a bipartisan effort.
So this isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. We're fighting for Americans.
Okay, so that was Cameron Bopp from KMOV doing the story right there. Okay, so there's the political ramifications of this because there are optics involved in it. But then if there's anything to be encouraged about, Susie, it's that I think people are stepping back and going, wait a minute. 667,000 people in Missouri, 2 million in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Why are that many people dependent on the government in the first place? This can't be all just bad luck.
No. And I do think I do appreciate the fact that this is spurring that broader conversation. Yeah. It needs to. I'm going to tell you like my spidey senses.
Yes.
When I hear Chuck Schumer, who's been dug in and recalcitrant throughout this whole thing for whatever his reasons are, which we suspect they're political, to say Senator Hawley's introduced the bill and we're on board with it. Something feels off about that. Now, I like Josh Hawley. I understand the reasoning for him to introduce this, but for that's a very quick 180 from Chuck Schumer that has me feeling a little skeptical.
I mean, did Josh Hawley just offer the Democrats something that they want politically? Or did Josh Hawley say, we, the Republicans, can take the lead on this because this is what America is worried about right now?
Maybe both.
Yeah, because the answer is yes.
Yeah. I don't trust Chuck. And for him to be as gung-ho about this all of a sudden when they've been so dug in and it's within his power to fix that, something feels off.
Yeah, so Josh Hawley had 10 other Republicans co-sponsoring this. So that's 11 Republican votes. Every Democrat basically was assured to vote for it.
Right.
I don't know how many other Republicans would have voted for it if it were put up for a vote.
So that's 58.
Yeah. But
the Republicans aren't going to filibuster this.
No. So my guess is that if this is put up for a vote, it maybe nearly unanimously goes through.
I think if John Thune is going to stand firm and not put this up for a vote, I think he needs to be very, very clear on why, and he needs to offer some sort of alternative pivot that's going to shake something loose. Because I think if they just stand firm and say, we're not going to piecemeal it, that's going to blow back on the Republicans' faces.
Yeah, because that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
That's his answer at the moment is we're not going to piecemeal. It's all or nothing. And so at this point, now the Democrats are able to go, wait a minute. you won't even let your own side's proposal to fund SNAP go through. So both sides can accurately point at the other to say you're stopping SNAP from being funded, as Estelle would say, Estelle Ponticus would say, is the uniparty.
Yes.
That's what he would say. But both now have a hand. So I suspect that this proposal from Josh Hawley probably ruffled the feathers of the Republican leadership, because now they're in the position to be the ones to say no, when it's the Democrats who caused the whole shutdown in the first place.
Also makes me wonder why they're not on the same page.
Yeah, that's because that would be it seems to me that would be an easy win to say, oh, this one thing, all right, we're not adding any funding to it. We're not reducing any funding to it. It's already there. We're going to go ahead and authorize, even if it's for 1 month.
Yeah.
Well, let's authorize it for the next 30 days. All the benefits go out.
CR is only going to be good for 3 more weeks at this point if they vote on it right now.
Yeah, so you could basically vote to reload everybody's EBT card on November 1st. And that's what's not happening. And then all of a sudden you've got the whole thing again for December. So from the on the ground level where we are, we're kind of looking at going, seems to be an easy one. And now the optics are changing. And now the whole thing is, I think you're right. I think
something's off about this.
I think it could blow back in the Republicans' face on this. But at the same time, I'm very, very happy to see so many people going, wait a minute, these numbers are huge.
Yeah. Why do so many people rely on the government to feed them?
Why am I being taxed to put dinner on the plate for? Isn't that socialism? At some point when you've got 12 to 14% of the country dependent on everybody else to pay for their dinner, to pay for their groceries.
Yeah, but remember, we were just talking about this earlier this week. Socialism isn't a dirty word anymore for a lot of the younger generation. So I think the stronger argument is whatever you want to call it, that's not good. It's not healthy for people to be dependent on their government to exist.
Maybe that's how we try to frame it, not reframe it, because it is dependency on government, and there is an indignity that's being inflicted on people when you create a dependence on government.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully we're changing attitudes.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, if you're interested in these conversations, we host them after the show on our various platforms, such as Omni Studio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much anywhere that everywhere, as Mike says. We also have a stream. So if you're curious as to what we look like, you want to put us on your TV, your smart TV. You can see the new and improved Gabe. I mean, Susie Moore. And as well as joining the conversations, we do have Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. So if you have some thoughts on this, but you still want to, you're at work, maybe you can't call in, well, go ahead and drop us a comment.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I've driven all over Washington, D.C. I cannot find the money tree.
On News Talk STL. This December 13th, join Wreaths Across America at Belle Reve Gardens Cemetery as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. Help us lay remembrance wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes. Sponsor a wreath, volunteer, or bring your family to this meaningful tribute to our veterans, because every hero deserves to be remembered. Learn more and sponsor a wreath. Visit NewsTalkSTL.com.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. When severe weather hits, scammers often follow. They may pose as charities, jack up prices on essentials, or offer fraudulent home repairs. I'm committed to protecting Missourians from those scams. If you've been targeted or suspect price gouging, report it to our office at 800-392-8222 or online at ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's office.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Today's show is brought to you by Fun Size Candy Bars, because there's nothing more fun than eating 10 of them and telling yourself that since they were small, those calories don't really count.
Just saying.
It's true.
Don't tell Ryan that we said that.
I use that logic all the time. It's just a small piece of candy.
I actually caught myself at one point saying, what was it that was brought in? We had donuts yesterday, but it wasn't that. There was something that was brought in the other day. And I know I shouldn't be eating it.
Donuts?
Well, I did have a donut yesterday.
I had half of one.
Crumb cakes and pastries?
Maybe it was the pastries, I think.
I had half of a donut.
Yeah,
See? I was
there you
doing
go.
it smaller, so it's not bad for me.
And I thought, you know what? It's because it was like the lemon bar cake that was my favorite there. And I'm thinking, you know what? If you look at it, it's spongy. So really, it's a lot of air. And I'm just
right.
I'm trying to find any way to justify it in my head. Oh my goodness, 7:49 right now. By the way, today is National Candy Corn Day.
Wow, I didn't have that in my list.
No, I don't know why anybody would celebrate that, but it's National Candy Corn Day. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't. Nah, I'm not a big candy corn person.
No,
I know some people really are. I'm just
they're wax.
Well, sugary wax.
Yeah, there's just wax.
I know.
I mean, I don't get it. Are you a candy corn aficionado, Jerome?
I mean, I'm sure it's in the food pyramid somewhere, right? It's got corn in the
Way
name, so it's got
down
to be
at the bottom.
It's essentially a vegetable, right?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. All right, so that's happening, and then now we're getting all of the list of what the most popular candies are and stuff around the area and this sort of thing. But we're gonna have more of that because tomorrow being Halloween, we're just gonna have fun. Okay, we're gonna have fun. I'm sure we're gonna have like in important newsy things to talk about. But tomorrow's Halloween. We're just gonna have some.
Are you gonna
fun.
wear a costume?
I don't have one. I can go try to see if there is one. I don't.
You?
You're as well. I'm. If you want to do a costume, do a costume.
I'm going to be the second greatest board operator at the station, so it'll just be me, but cleaner.
So you guys aren't going to dress up?
I can go look to see a costume, but
I can either dress up or I can wear a Halloween themed shirt. So I was trying to weigh which one I'm going to do. See, this is you got a girl on the program now. We're going to talk about wardrobe choices.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some people are probably benefiting from this economy, but I'm not doing so well as I can justify going out and buying a costume.
Well, no, this would be one I already have.
Okay.
This is not a new
now
thing.
there are costumes that I've seen here at the station over the years.
Mhm.
So I'm
but I don't want to be Katie Porter.
No.
When they were showing the signs of her like as the Batgirl in the halls of Congress, she just looked like a goofball. So maybe I'll just wear the Halloween theme.
All right. Well, we trust your judgment.
All right.
Let's put it that way here. New York Times had an interesting article. And it was arguing that Halloween decorations, we're talking about like in your yard and stuff, that they're getting out of hand and they're getting too gruesome and too scary.
Oh, I have a story about that.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, it's not my neighbor, but someone I know's neighbor, next door neighbor, is a diehard Halloween fan, which means on Labor Day.
Okay.
On Labor Day.
Labor Day.
On Labor Day. The decorations go up, and the decorations are gravestones and dead bodies hanging from trees and like smears of blood on the window. And I mean, and with scary like audio and dry ice, like the smoke stuff coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's the whole shooting match. So, I mean, that's always kind of beneficial because the kids all come to see that, and you just can hand out your candy from
Right.
next door, and it's like great. So I mean, I actually think it's kind of cool, but for 2 months out of the year, you're like living next to
The Addams
like,
family. Yeah.
exactly.
Or the Munsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one house around the corner from our house in Richmond Heights that goes all out for Halloween. Now, they don't go all out that early, but they've got a big casket and a Dracula, and they've got, and
Oh, yeah.
they actually open their doors and the trick-or-treaters go in. They have like a mini haunted house, and the kids can
Oh,
just go walk around,
wow.
which, by the way, bad idea to walk into a stranger's house. But, they've got like, you can see the lights flashing and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, that's how people sometimes treat Christmas lights. That's kind of what I do with decorations for Halloween. And there are actually, I mean, there's a house that is near where my uncle lives, and they have like this. I don't know if it's exactly 20 foot, but this massive skeleton. And they made people happy, so they bought a second one to be his like girlfriend or something. So they have I don't know where you buy the giant clothing and props, but it's
yeah, the
impressive.
skeletons, I think like Home Depot and Menards are selling those now.
I saw a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
You don't see that every day.
No, and it's kind of throwback to Ghostbusters, right? But
You didn't get my
on
reference. That's not
oh,
something you see every day.
that's from Ghostbusters.
Right.
I was so busy talking about it, I wasn't listening to you. I'm sorry. No, on what is it? Olive.
Yeah.
There in Creve Coeur, like Olive and 141. There's a giant right by the bowling alley. There's a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow
That's
Man.
funny. I got to go drive by and see that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I saw a there was a Halloween parade in this little town we were staying in over the weekend, and we're like, well, we're here. So somebody had their little toddler dressed up as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh,
It was
love
pretty
it.
funny. It
Love
was
it.
pretty funny. Now and every year there are those stories about Halloween decorations that offend people.
Yeah.
Because there was some I saw on a news report. Okay, I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying I kind of see why it's funny. He just put up this big fence, and then he had a bunch of skeletons in like sombreros and ponchos trying to climb over. Then other skeletons with ice vests chasing after the skeletons going over the fence.
Well, I could see how some might get their feathers
I'm
ruffled over
just-
that.
There's always like complaints and that sort of thing. And then you get the story sometimes where somebody does something so realistic, like, somebody hanging from the side of the house, that somebody calls the cops and like thinks that somebody
I have
is
a story about
Oh,
that.
all right. What happened?
I did that.
You did.
Susie.
Well, no, in fairness to me, I got a couple other people to weigh in on it. I'm just gonna say there was a car that had a bunch of what seemed like blood smeared on it, and I didn't see any other. There were no other decorations. There was no other tells, and it looked weird even for I've seen like decorations like
Sure,
that.
yeah.
This looked really weird even for that, and there was some damage on the car. And so I was like, am I being that lady? Am I like being Gladys Kravitz? Or so I asked other people what they thought. I said, what do you think? And one of the other people was like, you know what? I would probably just call the police, just have them check it out. So I called and I just said, look, this is a weird call. You probably get weird calls all the time, but I don't know for sure what it is. I just feel weird not saying something. And I think they decided they thought it was decoration.
Yeah. Okay.
See, I usually those sorts of stories I usually attribute with Christmas time, because there was that news clip where somebody did the decoration where it was supposed to be a guy with his legs kicking as if he was falling off a ladder while putting up Christmas lights.
Yeah. Right.
And then the neighbor from across the street came over like, "Sir, you're going to be okay. I got you. Emergency response on the way." And so I've seen some of those actually from Christmas time, but I don't know. I've never really seen anybody getting that worried over Halloween decorations.
Well, again, my initial thought was that was what it was, but there was something about it that looked weird and off. And then I was like, okay, what if I'm wrong? What if it isn't that? And I didn't say something. So
Yep, I get it.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm a nerd.
somebody sent me a list of like Halloween decorations we're tired of seeing in people's yards.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so is this being too Karen-ish or just too snobby? Okay. Bat stickers, saying it just makes your window look like it has a mustache.
I don't have a problem with bat
Bat stickers like on the windows.
So?
Yeah. Novelty gravestones.
Okay, well, this yard I'm talking about has
Yeah.
a plenty.
But those are like part of the tradition.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, those don't bug me.
No.
Skeletons and wacky poses. I think somebody's like too, because it's
Well, unless they're obscene.
Well, yeah,
And
they're
then
not.
if they're not kid appropriate, then that's
Yeah, it says here everybody knows skeletons can only do things, lay their dead, and then model clothes in a fashion show. How about like the big fake cobwebs?
I just don't want to walk through them.
Yeah, I mean, I love the line on this here. It says, just because something is covered in cobwebs does not mean it's scary. Case in point, Joe Biden.
Well, I don't know. He's kind of scary.
He was at the time here. Let's see here. The giant skeleton from Home Depot that says, if you have that much money to blow on Halloween, apply it to your candy selection, Mr. Tootsie Roll.
Oh,
so, there you go.
That's fair. That's fair. Priorities, people.
Priorities. All right. And then creepy clown heads.
Oh, yeah. I don't like those.
Yeah.
I like them.
It says you ruin it for clowns who aren't terrifying. Like, you know what? Never mind. That's not a bad decoration. Maybe stick with those. Maybe that one's good.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show. I am here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, entrepreneurship, it's one of those buzzwords we hear a lot about, but is entrepreneurship really important to the economy?
It definitely is. Entrepreneurship is a consistent contributor to economic growth. It creates new products and services that people value. It creates the new businesses that provide them. It fosters innovation that improves productivity, and it increases beneficial competition. It generates jobs, income, wealth mobility, and even tax revenues that all support and enhance communities. Entrepreneurship matters, so we need to help it thrive in all our communities.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Hour from Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. Some conservative commentators are calling it Joe Biden's Watergate. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley says Operation Arctic Frost was a massive Biden Justice Department spy operation surveilling the activities of a host of conservative organizations. Also, cell phone records were subpoenaed. Grassley says it was, his words, the vehicle by which FBI agents and DOJ prosecutors could improperly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus. President Trump returns home from Asia with pledges of $1 trillion worth of investments in the U.S., one of the high watermarks of his overseas tour.
President Donald Trump met face-to-face with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping in South Korea on the final day of Trump's Asia trip. The two leaders met at an airbase in the city of Busan and spoke for 1 hour and 40 minutes. This was a chance for both sides to stabilize relations after some rocky months.
Correspondent Tian McLeod-G says Beijing agrees to buy American soybeans, loosen restrictions on rare earth exports, and deal with fentanyl. In return, Mr. Trump will reduce tariffs on Chinese goods. A federal appeals court strikes down a lower judge's attempt to rein in the Border Patrol in Chicago.
On Tuesday, U.S. District Judge Sarah Ellis ordered U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Chief Patrol Agent Gregory Bavino to give her daily briefings on immigration operations being conducted in Chicago. An unprecedented bid to impose real-time oversight on the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. But before Bavino's first meeting with Ellis Wednesday, the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals stepped in and blocked her order. The Department of Homeland Security called Ellis's order judicial overreach. The sweeps have resulted in more than 1,800 arrests. I'm Ben Thomas.
Dow futures are down 163 points. NASDAQ futures off 152. More on these stories, townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. Going to be a chillier start this morning with temperatures into the upper 30s, lower 40s. Seeing partly cloudy skies that'll give way to a lot more sunshine today. Highs back towards the upper 50s. Seeing winds back out of the north at about 8 to 12 miles per hour. So a little bit of a chillier breeze. Into Friday, Halloween, mostly sunny skies, a high of 60 degrees, a tad bit warmer. Isolated chances of showers into Saturday, mostly dry. The First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Join us this Sunday right here on News Talk STL for Serenity Wealth Now Radio. This week's special guest featuring Rob and Kathy Connor of Connor Roofing. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how to make sure the goobers stay off your roof when hailstorms arrive. So tune in this Sunday right here at News Talk STL, Serenity Wealth Now Radio, or Serenity Wealth Now social media outlets.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Mike Ferguson.
Shut this sucker down.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
St. Louis. You're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, Illinois' government is spending more money than it actually has, and more money that's coming in.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So the solution that Democrats are offering is find a way to tax pretty much anything and everything. And you may say, Mike, is this going to get ridiculous? And the answer is, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we're already seeing that in Springfield right now. We're joined by State Representative Blaine Wilhour, part of the Illinois Freedom Caucus. And Blaine, I would go down the list. And if I just read it cold, I think people would say, come on, Mike, that's just you're just doing a comedy thing. That's not real. But we've talked about the wanting to put basically a surcharge on every shipment in the state and every delivery in the state to help pay for Chicago's transit. But now we're talking about taxing tickets and streaming services and concerts and all of this is just a naked but naked money grab that are being proposed by the Democrats. Exactly what is it that they're saying that Illinois should increase or invent taxes on?
Yeah, basically, it's good to be with you, Mike, guys. We've got to the point here in Illinois where we've ran out of, other people's money. So now we're taxing fun, basically. Anything that you do for fun or leisure or order online, we're going to tax it now. Netflix, Hulu, all of that stuff, all these streaming services, amusements, concert tickets, anything like that. They're slapping an extra tax and surcharge on because the transit authority in Chicago can't clean up its act, and they can't admit that there's nobody working in Chicago anymore, or certainly much less than there ever was, for a myriad of reasons, not to mention the violence and everything else and insanity that's going on up there. They can't deal with the real problems, so they just keep dreaming up ways to tax us, and until they start making major changes, that's just it's gonna continue to happen, and it's gonna get crazier and crazier.
Okay, so to be clear though, we're not talking about taxes in Chicago. We're talking about they want to tax the entire state to pay for this debacle in Chicago. So everybody on the east side here, we're talking Madison County, we're talking about everybody, Belleville, we're talking about, Collinsville, we're talking about Edwardsville, we're talking about East St. Louis, all the areas in our listening area. Yeah, that would be the extra tax if on your DoorDash. I mean, if it's on every ticket, then in theory, I saw somebody say, does that mean that if you buy a ticket to go to the county fair or the concert at the local, community thing, that you're going to get an extra tax on it?
Yes, absolutely. It does. It's insane, but that's the point that we're at here in Illinois. They refuse to acknowledge reality on any of this stuff, and when you do that, you just keep getting what you're getting until people wake up and start voting for other people in this state, or get off their butts and vote in general. We're going to keep getting this.
So where are these proposals right now, like in the process, in the system? This isn't just, hey, I have an idea. This is on paper. This has been proposed.
Right. Yeah. This isn't just some bill that somebody drafted and put a press pop out on. This thing is through committee, and it can be heard on the floor today, and it probably there's a good chance that it would be. Man. So yeah, this is a real deal. The transit system is in shambles up there. It's dirty, it's unsafe, it's unused, but we can't make any changes or streamline anything on there. We just the whole state has to be punished for it.
Okay. So another, I guess it would be technically a surcharge, but the same effect on this. And I saw this, I think, on the DeKalb, the DeKalb social media site, SB 25. We're talking about an energy or battery surcharge, and the argument is this could raise utility rates probably for every customer statewide. What is it that's in the works with this?
Yeah, it is going to raise the utility rates, and utility rates have already doubled, tripled, and quadrupled for people, especially the Ameren customers, which are generally the folks downstate. Even the ComEd members upstate are starting to feel it right now. It's just papering over the problem, Mike. I mean, people are up in arms about the crazy utility rates in the state of Illinois. We can't afford it. And, but this stuff, they're not going to change their policies on this. The climate gods are their religion, and they're going to force feed this thing. So instead of actually fixing the problem, they're just throwing more money at, battery storage for we're going to store energy that we can't produce, basically, is what it comes down to on there. The only way that we're going to bring energy prices down in the state of Illinois is put more energy on the grid. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have to loosen your grip on these regulations, the stifled, coal, oil, natural gas, even nuclear, to that point too. So, but they're not doing any of that. They're coming up with this battery storage stuff. So, it's extremely costly. The technology is not really there to fully utilize this right now. And ratepayers are just going to continue to pay more and more because there's less and less energy to go around. And they want all these data centers and all of that stuff. And it's just that's just sapping more energy off the grid. And the less that's out there, the more expensive it's going to be. It's supply and demand. But they refuse to acknowledge reality because they care more about their political narrative and agenda than they do the actual working people in the state of Illinois that has to pay for it.
So who is it and what is it that they want to put the surcharge on? I mean, who is it that would actually get the bill? I mean, it's obviously going to get passed to all the ratepayers and the homes and businesses, but who's actually getting the charge?
Well, the charge is going to come on your utility bill. It has to, because energy is going to become even less available and less affordable. So, it's just like I said, it's supply and demand. The battery storage and all that, they can talk about that all they want, but it's papering over a problem at the end of the day. Until you bring more energy on the grid, until you loosen your religious zealotry on this green new scam nonsense, then people are going to continue to be punished.
We're visiting with State Representative Blaine Wilhour, who's a member of the Illinois Freedom Caucus. Okay, so I'm hearing rumors that the Democrats may also want to be pushing some redistricting in response to what Missouri is doing, what Texas is doing, and obviously there's a big ballot issue on that in California. Is that something that actually could be happening, or are we just talking about political rumors in the media?
Well, I mean, Hakeem Jeffries was in Springfield on Monday, meeting with the Democrat leadership. So yeah, it's a real deal. The Illinois congressional delegation in D.C., every one of them supports it. But the problem is, in states like Missouri and Indiana and those places, they weren't really gerrymandered. Certainly not to the extent that Illinois has been. Illinois has been doing this for a long time, and we're gerrymandered so badly right now that I'm not convinced that they could make it that much worse. Because it's so bad right now. But they're desperate. They're grasping for straws, and I'm glad that places like Missouri are finally stepping up and getting in the fight. You got to fight fire with fire on this stuff. The left are unrelenting. They will push and push and push until they force their way on stuff. And you see that in states like Illinois.
So in Illinois, Blaine, to redistrict, and especially mid-decade, like other states are trying to do, is that something that the legislature and governor can do unilaterally, or does that have to go through another process?
I mean, it would have to go through the legislative process. But I mean, there's a legislative supermajority for Democrats in both chambers. So yeah, it would go through the process. The legislators actually draw it. They certainly oversee it. We don't have any sort of commission or anything like that in Illinois. So it's actually drawn by the legislature, and it just has to be approved by the governor. So it's in a state that you got supermajorities, this certainly not out of the question. They could do it tomorrow.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, obviously, we've got reports now that about 1,000 arrests have been made in the illegal alien crackdown, almost all of that in the Chicago metro area. So the northern part of the state. Governor Pritzker earlier this week, pulling out the race card, the race thing. They're just looking for people who are brown. And of course, he's pushing back legally, but he's still calling for, activism to get in the faces of the federal agents. Is that still popular even with the Democrats? At some point, do they go, geez, dude, back off a little bit? This is like a 60-40, 70-30 issue right here. Or is this just a matter of Pritzker thinks this is what's going to get him that Democratic nomination for president?
Well, that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. His political ambitions are going to override what's best for the folks in Illinois. I mean, that's been the case for a while now. So even if he didn't agree with it, which he does, I firmly believe that he believes all this stuff because he's a nut, and he's never had to work or have a real job in his life. So he's disassociated with reality. But there's portions of the state, Mike, that certainly agree with that. We've got a real problem in our affluent collar counties up around Chicago, and those folks up there, they need to wake up too, because they're enabling all of this stuff, and it just hurts regular Illinoisans.
All right. And of course, you guys still are doing the weekly updates, the video podcast work with the Freedom Caucus as well. How do people keep track of that? Because whether you live in Illinois or not, a lot of folks living in Missouri, this affects the entire region here. I encourage people to follow you all on social media and check out those updates.
Absolutely. Yep. Just look us up. We got a Freedom Caucus. We're on X. We're on Facebook. You can find me at Blaine Wilhour on X, and just look up Blaine Wilhour on Facebook, and we're fighting the fight here in Illinois for sure.
All right, Blaine, thanks so much for the update, and man, you guys are just doing the fight that most people would never want to do. So I appreciate you continue to take the swings.
Thank you, guys.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon. Blaine Wilhour, Illinois Freedom Caucus State Representative in the Illinois Assembly. All right. 314-912-1019. By the way, Loaded Dice is still on the payroll, but he is not the sheriff at this point, at least for the moment. Okay. We're going to explain in the news dump, which is coming your way at 8:20.
You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What was once considered radical is now mainstream.
On News Talk STL.
Oh, hey. Get up, in case you hear the alarm.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
That guy over there is Stan Clement from Roots Plus. Why is it when you cut down trees, nobody says timber?
Well, I hadn't thought about that. I guess it's like on the golf course. Most people don't yell four. I think it's after you make your drive.
Maybe that's the problem. I think look out would be a better warning than four.
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Fall rebates are here at Johnson Heating and Cooling. Save up to $600 off your new heating and cooling system. Plus, get a free humidifier when you purchase a complete system. And here's the best part. We're offering up to 0% financing for 60 months. That means you can stay comfortable all winter without breaking the bank. Don't forget our $99 furnace checkup. These incredible offers expire November 30th. Call 636-332-4141 or visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com.
Hi, Chris Arbs here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks of Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event takes place on Tuesday, November 18th at the factory in the district of the Chesterfield Valley. You'll hear from their experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2026 and beyond. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and the program starts at 8 a.m. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by calling 314-212-1595. That's Royal Banks of Missouri.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
All right, as you're heading into work, we're going to make sure you know what's going on. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Loaded Dice is sort of out of a job, kind of, at least for the moment.
It's not only weird that a sheriff is in jail, but the fact that the sheriff is in jail is not an instant termination of his position.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to give you the update. And if you say, oh, Mike, are you going to make sense of this? No, there's nothing of this that makes sense. No, but I'm going to tell you what's happening. Also, should we sanction or make a deal with China? Yeah. And another animal shelter is being built in the metro. It's a pretty big project here. All right. 8:21 right here. Let's go ahead and dump some news on you.
The morning news dump brought to you by the Nutrition Stop.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right. He's still on the payroll, but he's not the boss, at least not at the moment. So a judge has temporarily removed Alfred Montgomery from office due, obviously, to the sheriff's detainment by U.S. Marshals. Okay, so Montgomery, as I'm sure you know, faces multiple criminal charges. His trial is scheduled for November 18th. And so what happened is one judge ruled that, no, he cannot be the sheriff right now. He cannot effectively do his job. He is removed from his position. he is still on the payroll.
Why?
Well, because he hasn't actually been removed from office yet. The lawsuit basically said he can't perform the duties. Somebody needs to do it in the interim, and we don't like the plan that he came up with. Okay, so another judge then the same day appointed former St. Louis Police Chief John Hayden to serve as interim sheriff. John Hayden retired from the St. Louis Police Department, I want to say in 2022, I believe. And so he is going to serve until either Montgomery returns or a permanent replacement is either chosen for appointment or elected. But that's all assuming that Loaded Dice is going to be out of a job and permanently removed, which seems all but certain right now.
I mean, again, I don't know the ins and outs of every position in government, but
Right.
that seems like one of the very few sort of like that would make the most sense. Is just
Right.
you've done everything but be an effective sheriff. Now you're in jail. You're done, sir.
Well, and as David Amilati pointed out in his report for KMOV yesterday, he's still getting his $140 some odd $1,000 a year salary. He's getting his paychecks. But now John Hayden, I don't know how much he's being paid to be the interim sheriff, but he's now being paid. So there's a double payment or at least two payments that are being made for the same position right now. Okay. The SNAP thing. This is interesting. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins was on Kudlow on Fox Business Network yesterday talking about the government shutdown and the efforts to keep SNAP benefits going out. Basically, will they be paid on Saturday or not is essentially what we're looking at. She does say, this is interesting, that a silver lining in the situation is that it has sparked a national conversation about SNAP.
The American people are waking up to the fact that 1 of every 8 Americans gets a welfare check from the government for food. That's the bad news. The good news is over the last 6 months since the president was inaugurated, we have moved 645,000 people off of SNAP into the workforce.
Okay, so that's the right approach to take this. And what's interesting is you remember over the years, because it's not like conservatives have never complained about the big government state, the welfare state. And sometimes complaining about it for the right reason, it robs people of their dignity. It creates dependence. Others have simply just said, I don't want to pay for your food.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and those are all, frankly, whether you like it or not, valid concerns. I don't want to be forced to pay for your food, as opposed to I'll donate to a charity if I know how it's going to be done. But now those conversations, when they used to be just dismissed as you mean old conservatives, how dare you hate the poors. Now people are going, well, wait a minute. How many people? 667,000 in Missouri, 2 million in Illinois. Wait a minute. Maybe that's part of the problem, is that so many people are dependent on government. There's got to be a better way. And that's a conversation we should have been having decades ago.
And I was looking it up during the earlier discussions. And so according to the official the most recent stats I could find, it's $163 per person. So if you have a family unit, it's probably more than that.
That's probably what, per month or so?
Per month.
Yeah.
And then 70% of those that are on SNAP are listed as either children, disabled, or elderly. But that also means that 30% of them do not meet any of the
right.
So why are we not looking deeper into how many of the 30% really actually needs, because they can't provide for themselves? Or are these people that we could say, well, we need to focus on the people that can't do that first,
right?
Get off the payroll.
Yeah, I 30% savings would be massive.
That's huge
for taxpayers. And there are people that need to be vetted off of this system, and quickly as well. There's a lot of people on it who shouldn't be on it. There are people who are there because it's what the system was set up for, because you can't. Now, I personally think that local, accountable, charitable efforts would be better and with more dignity, and would be better for everybody, would be more self-sustaining. But at the moment, at the very least, we should be able to say, if you can work, you should be working.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt. You should be providing yourself. You've got a responsibility to provide for yourself. And so at least that conversation is happening, to the secretary's credit here. Okay, a Republican senator calling for sanctions on China. Here's the story.
Republican Ted Budd of North Carolina has written a lengthy article in The Hill pointing out the details of Beijing's latest crackdown on Christians. Budd says it's time for the U.S. to punish the Communist Party for its increasing violations of international religious freedom statutes, adding, quote, Any Chinese official who is responsible for or has directly carried out abuses against religious groups must face strict U.S. sanctions. He's also introduced a sanctions bill in the Senate. Michael Harrington reporting.
Okay, so that's not where the president seems to be right now. President Trump heading back to the U.S. after wrapping up that meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea. The president says the two leaders are pretty close to a trade deal.
We have not too many major stumbling blocks. We have a deal. Now, every year we'll renegotiate the deal, but I think the deal will go on for a long time.
Okay, so the president says that China is still going to face 47% tariffs, but that's down from the 100% tariffs that were threatened after China expanded export controls on things like rare earth minerals.
Yeah, I'm not sure that our domestic production or even the production capabilities of our most immediate trade partners can match a lot of what we're getting from China.
Right.
So it would be in the best interest to start with a deal and then work towards weaning ourselves off of production from
because the tariffs just increase the price of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all they do. Now, President Trump appears to be ruling out a third term in office, although I don't think he wants to do that.
Donald Trump has been publicly toying with the idea of running for a third term in the White House, even though the Constitution's 22nd Amendment says no one can be elected president more than twice. He told reporters aboard Air Force One that if you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. However, the president didn't rule out entirely the possibility of staying in office despite that, saying, "We'll see what happens." Greg Clugston, Washington.
Just stop.
Are you ready for Trump 2032, Mike?
That's right. Oh, man. All right. Turning Point USA CEO Erica Kirk spoke alongside Vice President J.D. Vance addressing students at Ole Miss, University of Mississippi, where she said that the current young generation, meaning the young 20s, they are living at a crossroads.
You are living in one of the most defining moments in American history. And we are all witnessing in real time the battle that is raging for the soul of your generation.
And of course, this happens just 7 weeks after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. APA of Missouri breaking ground on a new facility in North County. Now that's going to be built on Benham Road. Sarah Javier is the CEO of APA, and she tells KMOV that the new facility is going to provide more than just pet adoptions.
In North St. Louis County, we recognize that there were not resources for pets. So in order to help a pet thrive and remain in their home, they need access to veterinary care, general wellness services, a place to get good quality food, as well as just behavior training and other things that help a pet thrive.
So construction should be complete on the $27 million facility sometime in 2027, and it looks like it's going to be early 2027, so about a year and a half.
I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic because it seems that seems to be one of the bigger issues. I mean, there's auxiliary issues that go with it, but I think having more space and more availability could cut down on a lot of what we saw this past year with some of the issues.
And APA does a really nice job in large part because they're a nonprofit in the private sector. They just do a much better job. Okay, Blue Jays are one win away from a world championship after last night's 6-1 win in Los Angeles. Today is a travel day, no game today, but the World Series resumes tomorrow in Toronto with the Jays having a 3-2 lead.
Every time I see myself, I can't picture my ideal. We come in all shapes and sizes.
One more day to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. One more day to Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. Going to be a chillier start this morning with temperatures into the upper 30s, lower 40s. Seeing partly cloudy skies that'll give way to a lot more sunshine today. Highs back towards the upper 50s. Seeing winds back out of the north at about 8 to 12 miles per hour. So a little bit of a chillier breeze. Into Friday, Halloween, mostly sunny skies, a high of 60 degrees, a tad bit warmer. Isolated chances of showers into Saturday, mostly dry. The First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
Fox News commentary with Jesse Waters next.
When I started skiing, I didn't think about setting any records. When I won my first race, I didn't think about how many more I might win. So when I made it to the top of the world, it never crossed my mind to stop. being the best isn't the same as being your best. There are no shortcuts to the top, so find the people who help get you there. I'm Michaela Schifrin, and that's what Team Stiefel means to me. If you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stiefel, where success meets success.
Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Here's Jesse Waters.
Trump loves doing business with the Japanese. They bought up a whole fleet of Ford F-150 trucks and put them on the palace grounds. And then the prime minister whispered the T word.
I was just told by the prime minister that Toyota is going to be putting auto plants all over the United States to the tune of over $10 billion.
Hear that? Cha-ching. But that's not all. We signed a big minerals deal, rare earths for cars, fighter jets, plus $500 billion in investments made in America. You know who's not happy? China. Suddenly, business isn't booming in Beijing, and the land of the rising sun is shining on God's country, the good old USA. Trump's creating brand new trade and security alliances that make America great and keep China at bay.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, firearms enthusiast, looking for a family and veteran-owned shop with a wide selection of products and services? Head to DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green. DG Firearms has been your one-stop shop for custom ARs, Cerakoting, laser engraving, gunsmithing, suppressors, ammo, and reloading supplies. DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green, and online at dgfirearmsllc.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
I listen to NewsTalkSTL on the app driving to work.
Download the NewsTalkSTL app.
You got to get the NewsTalkSTL app.
Love the app. Can listen anywhere in St. Louis.
And listen anytime.
NewsTalkSTL right on my phone.
Anywhere.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I can't freshen up my coffee because Jerome drank it all.
Yeah.
There's none left.
Yeah.
I let just a little sidebar here. Yesterday I walk in and Jerome is, I use this word purposely, chugging the black coffee right out of you poured it right out of the carafe and you're just literally chugging it like you were slamming a beer at a frat party. Well, I've never seen anything like that.
I would have chugged it straight from the carafe, but I couldn't get my mouth around it like that. But yeah, no, maybe that'll be my Halloween costume. I'll be the caffeine fiend, the caffeine.
That's it. Yeah. There it is. All right, 8:35 right now. The campaign for county executive at St. Charles County. Boy, that took a turn in the last couple of days. Yeah, and that's now a three-way race with current executive Steve Ellman deciding to run for a third term. Now, we talked to Steve yesterday. You can go to our podcast and hear that. Mike Elam has already backed out of the race. He's supporting Steve Ellman. Jason Law is staying in the race, as is former State Senator Bill Eigel, who joins us right now. And Bill, you were pretty fast with a statement, making sure that voters know you're not going anywhere. You're staying in the race. Were you surprised by Steve's announcement? And to you, how does this change the landscape, if at all, in the race?
Hey, well, good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I wasn't surprised. You know, Steve has been in public office since the Clinton administration. So I am not surprised that ultimately when it came down to it, he wasn't able to let go of the seat that he's held for a long, long time now. And quite honestly, if he was holding on to the seat because he had some good ideas about the direction of St. Charles County as far as addressing property taxes, as far as addressing all these apartment complexes going up, I would be more likely to support him. But the reality is he's not talking about any of those major issues. And I think that St. Charles is a place now where we're on the verge of stagnation because, unfortunately, some of the highest levels of government in our county are not doing anything to address the record level property taxes in our county. They're not doing anything to address all these apartment complexes that are going up. So no, I'm not going anywhere. And I just think that St. Charles County is ready for some bold conservative leadership. And we are going to become a leader in the state of Missouri as we start doing all the things that people would wish we would do when we were in office.
Okay, so I asked Steve about the property tax issue yesterday, especially with so much undeniable momentum on reforming or eliminating particularly property taxes. His argument was the actual county government itself collects almost no property tax. It's school districts and library boards, and that's out of the county government's control, was his argument. What can the county government do about the property tax burden in the state, in the county rather?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say that message, his answer, well, there's nothing we can do, is his answer to a lot of the issues that are facing the county. Even though he himself has been filling the top elected position in the county for 20 years, his answer is there's nothing we can do. I think that's a losing message. And if the people would trust me with their vote, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move a portion of that $600+ million county budget, which he has overwhelmingly grown while he's in office, and use some of the savings, the surpluses we have at the county, the efficiencies we can get when we implement a St. Charles County DOGE to actually pay down the property tax burdens that have completely gotten out of control under Steve Elman's watch. Then what we're going to do is I think it's time to start putting some restrictions on these cities' ability to do things that are clearly against what the people are looking for, whether it's putting some restrictions on their ability to put up all these apartment complexes, whether it's putting some restrictions on their ability to continue to allow property taxes to skyrocket. We're one of just a few charter counties in the state of Missouri that give us some flexibility to do that. I've got a plan to get rid of personal property tax, but we're going to have to do a little bit of out-of-the-box thinking. That's not Steve's specialty. He's busy saying that we can't do this. I'm going to start delivering real property tax relief that is well overdue in St. Charles County.
Okay, you mentioned apartment complexes a few times. Let me follow up on that. I mean, there's obviously a demand for people wanting to move to St. Charles County. And so what should that growth look like? And what's the problem with apartment complexes? Because a lot of young professionals look for nice apartment complexes.
Yeah, the problem is twofold. One, it's a losing issue, and it exacerbates the real estate tax problem. Every unit that we build in St. Charles County brings in about $1,700 in overall tax revenue to all our taxing jurisdictions. But if it has just one child in that apartment complex, we're spending about $17,000 a year per student in our school system. So with that kind of imbalance of the taxes that are being collected, guess who's going to be footing the primary load of the bill when we build a whole bunch of apartment complexes? It's the owners of our single family homes that are already feeling the burn. So one, it's a huge fiscal problem. Two, we're dramatically changing the demographics of St. Charles County to look far more like St. Louis County and St. Louis City. And we're going to start suffering, especially in our more urban areas, from the same kind of overpopulation problems that those counties have been suffering from for a generation. So my plan is real simple. I think we need to put a stop to all these apartment complexes. And while Steve is out there saying, well, there's nothing that the county can do, I'm going to put to a referendum of the people in St. Charles County the need to require a county council approval, a supermajority of our county council, to approve any new apartment complexes in St. Charles County. That will effectively put a stop to any more of these mass overdevelopments in St. Charles County. I think we need to be continuing to grow, but I'd like to see more commercial development in St. Charles County, which will even out the real estate burdens. And we need to stop giving away all of the abatements to these big corporate special interests, also what the cities are doing. And we need to have some leadership from the county to do that. We haven't had that from Steve Elman. That's why I'm not going to back down, just because he's not ready to retire.
Okay, so what should the growth then look like? I mean, like we said, there's a big demand for people who want to move to St. Charles County. There's more demand than there are homes available right now. So what should the growth look like, or should the county try to basically throttle population growth?
Well, first of all, I think there's absolutely something the county, for folks that are wanting to live and work in St. Charles County, they're struggling, as you know, Mike, to be able to afford a home. So great. You know what the county can do to do that, to help that? Let's make it less expensive to own a home in St. Charles County by reducing the property tax burden. That's what the county ought to be focusing on, not this idea that the county can't do anything, the county can't play any role. If the county wants to make St. Charles County more inviting and available to citizens, let's reduce property taxes like I'm talking about and make these homes more accessible. But when we talk about growth, I'd like to get the county out of a lot of the money pits that Steve Ellman has gotten us into over the past 20 years. I'll give you a couple examples. Take the Family Arena. Everybody knows the Family Arena, but everybody probably doesn't know that we have lost tens of millions of dollars on the Family Arena in operating and maintenance costs just over the past 3 years. These are tens of millions of dollars that could have been going towards reducing the tax burden in our county, but instead we've got a county executive that can't see 5 feet in front of him because he's so focused on maintaining these huge money pits that are throttling the county on their own. Let's look at things like the National Equestrian Center. Why is the county involved in owning and operating a horse barn, competing with private sector industries, instead of using those resources to lower the tax burdens in this county? The county executive, Steve Ellman, just came out and is now going to get us into the money pit of the St. Charles City Hall. We're going to end up spending tens of millions of dollars more on this new city hall that is falling apart. That's why the city of St. Charles didn't want it. And instead, we could be using those resources to reduce the tax burden in our county. But instead, Steve Ellman comes on your show yesterday morning and says there's nothing the county can do. That's why I think folks are going to be ready for a new change come next August, and I can't wait to get started.
Okay, so I want to follow up. You mentioned like the tax abatements and things like that. So what you're talking about there, frankly, almost all the time, maybe all the time, is just flat out corporate welfare in so many different ways.
Correct.
The argument from the municipal types and the government types and that sort of thing is, well, that development, that commercial development you're talking about, that's just not going to happen unless we play ball and make deals and we offer those, whether it's a CID, whether it's an abatement, whether it's a TIF, whatever it is. That's all corporate welfare that they just demand. Can that growth happen without the corporate welfare?
Absolutely. In fact, Mike, I'll bet you a Pepsi that if we get rid of personal property tax, which not just helps our homeowners, but also helps our business owners as well, St. Charles County, even with zero abatements, will be a far more attractive location for businesses to come to and work out than any other county in the state of Missouri. So let's stop the corporate welfare and let's start pushing back on these cities that are giving away all this corporate welfare, and we can make St. Charles County a much better place. I think that's a much better answer than Steve Ellman's answer of simply saying, well, there's nothing the county can do.
Okay, so what's the right role in that relationship between the county government and the city government? Because there's probably some people saying, wait a minute, I elect my mayor and my city council and my board of aldermen. That's a separate thing. County, do your thing. Cities will do things. Should the cities basically answer to the county government, or should they remain kind of where it is right now?
Sure. This is a similar question when I was in Jefferson City, and we would have counties and cities that were doing things that we didn't feel were in the best interest of the people. The county has a responsibility for every citizen within its borders. And if the cities are going way beyond what is appropriate, and I absolutely think they have when it comes to these corporate welfare plans, when it comes to the tax burden, when it comes to the approval of all these apartment complexes, it is absolutely a role of the county to step in and say, no, you can't do that anymore. The county is insured. The county has to be responsible for all the area within its borders. Overpopulation, overtaxation is not just something that affects a local city. It affects our entire community. That's why we have to have engaged leaders at the highest level of county government that are willing to engage and intervene on behalf of the people. Steve Ellman is absent on these issues, and that's why I'm running for county executive.
All right. Website, social media. We've already tagged you on social media as well for this interview, but people want to check in, maybe connect with the campaign, follow your announcements. What's the way to do it, Bill?
At Bill Eigel on X, and BillEigel.com is my website. I feel like I've been telling that website for a long time on this show, Mike, so I appreciate you having me.
You got it. We'll talk to you again soon, Bill. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. See ya.
All right. Got some thoughts on that? 314-912-1019. That's a very different vision than what Steve was giving. So voters have a very clear, distinct choice there.
Also, We do upload to a podcast after the show. So if you only caught part of that riveting conversation, go back after the show's over. We'll have it up probably within a half hour or so. And then
sounds good. And Jason Law, the other candidate's going to be on the show tomorrow as well.
Yes, so you'll be able to actually hear from all three of the major candidates over the weekend.
Your business moves fast. PRI Global keeps it moving smarter for almost 30 years, delivering top tech talent to help companies grow stronger, custom applications, simplifying your operations, securing your data, modernizing your business from the cloud up. And with Prismatic, you're going to get real-time insights, automated workflows, people, process, platform. PRI Global delivers all three. PRIGlobal.com.
Hi, this is St. Louis County Councilman Mark Harder reminding you to check out my new show this weekend.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
That's me. Every Sunday evening at 5, we will explore with you behind-the-scenes stories and information that you won't hear anywhere else. Plus, we talk to decision makers and influencers that have impact on what's going on in St. Louis County and beyond.
The St. Louis County Insider with Councilman Mark Harder.
I'll talk to you Sunday night at 5, only on News Talk STL.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rate you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Israel says the ceasefire is back on after strikes kill more than 100 in Gaza. We'll ask national defense expert Steve Bucci about this at 4:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning, people.
All right, don't forget that we just mentioned Jason Law, the third candidate in that race for St. Charles County Executive. He's going to be on the program tomorrow. That's going to be in the 7 o'clock hour. I forgot which time it is, but he's going to be on the program. So all three candidates, after that shakeup of that race, will be available so you can listen to all three of the discussions and compare and contrast, and we'll have all three on again as the race progresses. Because remember, this is an August of 2026 election.
Wow. Yeah, that's I mean, you still have some time to make your decisions.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Especially given the course that it was already sort of the trajectory it was on. This is still a major shakeup.
It's a big shakeup. So check out the podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and you'll get those alerts. And that conversation with Bill Eigel is going to be available, whenever Jerome gets it up, probably next little bit or so.
Oh yeah, it won't be very long.
No. All right. 8:50 right now. Okay. So tomorrow is Halloween. There was a debate that was going on at least the Rumble chat box. I didn't see the Facebook, basically over costumes for tomorrow. And Susie, I have a feeling, wants to do the costumes. Yeah. I literally don't have a costume. I can try to put something together. But what I'm going to have? I'm going to have baseball stuff.
Okay. How much do I have to pay you to show up dressed in your full catcher's attire?
I've got it. It's easy for me to do. I mean, you got a few minutes, everybody. Let me know your thoughts here.
It's peer pressure.
Because it's like dressing up as what I actually am. I mean, listen, I just do this radio thing to fund my baseball habit.
I've seen you play, and how much soul you put into that, I 100% believe it.
My knee is still swollen from from a collision I had with a brick wall this season.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
you need to stop doing that.
Rachel looked at like we were sitting in the church for this wedding we were at last weekend, and I'm like, she was kind of looking down. I'm like, yeah, my knee's still swollen, and she's like, what happened? I'm like, well, I may or may not have run full speed into a brick wall that was a backstop trying to chase a foul ball. And, she was polite. She was, wifely. She didn't say, you freaking idiot. She said something, much more kind. Oh, I hope it, feels better, that kind of stuff. But yeah, Susie, I guess has a costume ready made. So I don't know what we're going to do. I just don't have much.
Well, how about this? If you dress up in your catcher's attire, I'll dress up like a brick wall.
And I can run right into it. Physics takes over and I lose that.
Because I do enjoy, that was a lot of the fun growing up, for me at least, was, again, I'm a big metalhead and a lot of metal bands are very theatric. So, but it's just, I got bills to pay, man.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So with it being Halloween, we've had a couple of people send in some ghost stories. And what I'm specifically asking for, because I think they resonate with people better, is something that you've experienced. So those of you who have been with us, since day one, it's a series of stories that you've heard me say, but it's been a couple years. So I had one set of experiences, and it was here in St. Louis. And so I will recount those tomorrow. That's my one and only story. I think Susie's had something of an experience. Have you ever had anything go bump in the night that you've experienced?
I know so many people that have, and then when they take me to the place where they're like, I swear every time I'm here, something goes down, and then I'm there. I guess I just scare them all away.
I was gonna say the ghosts look like that dude's 6'5". Don't mess with him, man.
Yeah, they're like, this guy's ruining the vibe here. No, because I kind of feel a little bit insulted by the spirits that may be, because I go out of my way to, respectfully, of course, but I try to go to some of these, haunted. Even in Savannah, Georgia, we went on this guided tour, and I was fact checking the history of what they were saying happened. It all happened the way they said it did, and I was the only one that didn't seem to have any sort of that.
Was that the walking tour outdoors?
No, this one was,
I've done that one.
This was from locals, so we were talking to some just random. We're very friendly people. If you ever see us, so we just talk to people, and they say, well, if don't pay for this tour, it's all theatric. Go here instead. This is where the real stuff goes on. So we were following some advice of that, and just we were on vacation, so it didn't really matter. But we went to a place that is apparently supposed to be extremely haunted. It's like an inn restaurant type place now, but there are parts where they do not let anybody access because of that.
Yes, that was in that little square brick area. Yes, I know where you're talking about.
And so we were, my mom, she's very good at talking to people. So we actually, us and a couple other small touristy people, they're like, okay, look, just don't tell anybody, which I'm breaking that rule right now, but this was years ago. We'll bring you back there and we'll kind of give you the private tour of it. And I swear my mom walked away. She was like, there's something in there. The group we were with, they were like, okay, we'll just stick to the paid tours after this.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I'm just like, do I smell bad? Like, I don't, I had no experience. It was cool. It was a nice building, but I had no experience.
I think I know which one you're talking about, because there were like 3 stories in that. It's like a walkway in this kind of a square, and there's a big tree in the middle, and then there's all these inn type buildings around it. I think I'm picturing, because I've been there, but it was on one of those more commercial tours.
Yeah.
The building that I think you're talking about, they actually, nothing is in it right now because they've locked it up and nobody's supposed to be allowed to go in, because so many people have had like terrible things happen when they walked in. So they've literally like locked that building, and it's been empty for years because of how much supposed activity happens there.
In the spot where we were at, you could tell that there were unfinished renovations because the actual construction crews were like, no, we're not messing with any of this.
We're
stuff.
talking about the same place. Yep. I was there. And then there was another story like in that square of some guy who, like, I guess died in that square. But then there on the other side from that building we're talking about, there's and it's still there. It's like, it was an inn and now it's like a restaurant. There's 2 or 3 like restaurants that are up there. And I ate at one of them. They're really cool. But there's one where they were telling a story where like a soldier from the Civil War. Did they tell you about that one? Like you'd be sitting there and you look and there's like a Civil War soldier, and it's like who'd strike up a conversation and talk to you and that sort of thing. Now, I didn't see anything like that, but that was in that same square area in Savannah.
And then further up, I'm bad with directions, but further up from that area, there's that cemetery where they have the little bells because of all the, I think it was like scarlet fever or something, where you went into rigor mortis before you were expired.
Yeah.
And
Well, there was also lead because everybody was drinking out of the pewter things, and it would send you into a coma, and they thought you were dead. And that's actually why, going back to the Middle Ages, why we have a wake. Because you would sit there and like, are they really dead? That's where the term wake came from, because sometimes somebody would wake up like, oh, what's up, guys? But then they would have like the term dead ringer, and that's what those bells are. They would bury you, but they'd tie a string to like your hand or your finger or something. And if you woke up, the night watchman would hear the bell ring, and they know, oh my God, go in and dig and get them out of there.
So I mean, I shouldn't say I love stories like that, but I do love folklore like that. So I've been very pleased so far with the submissions we've gotten. And if you have any photos of anything spooky, creepy Halloween, send it our way. What are you laughing at?
Allison is recommending we should all dress up as liberals.
Now that's truly scary.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small.